versus Johnson and Wales. So you want to spell out the entire name of the other university? Because my mind kind of blanked there for a minute, Welco. I greatly apologize.
Yeah, no problem. It's going to be California State University, Dominguez Hills. So that's what that is. That's what that's short for. And JWU is, of course, short for the Johnson and Wales you just mentioned. Looking at it, we're going to have a nice best of 3 matchup. We just saw the first matchup went all 3 maps. And so we'll see if we get there here. But the maps are going to be Coastline, Oregon, and then Clubhouse will be the decider if each team takes 1 map apiece. Then we'll get there. Otherwise, we'll find maybe one of these teams will 2-0. Who knows, right? But looking at it, it does look like everyone is in the lobby. But before we get there, just a word from the sponsors real quick. So we have Meta. Meta Pro Gaming is a full-service esports management, developmental, and consulting company. Meta provides esports coaching, college esports management, arena design, and equipment. Visit them at Meta Pro Gaming. Oh man, I'm just butchering this. metaprogaming.gg to learn more.
Yeah, it happens all the time. I think I will do my other sponsorship bit beforehand, as I do believe both teams are in fact ready. So I think we can get this show started up momentarily. So we'll just give them a couple more seconds. Who do you think's going to win tonight, Welco?
This being the first matchup of the season, it's hard to say. There was some preseason matchups that we saw, and each team had won a couple games. One won on a forfeit, and the other one lost 2, and the other team that won with the forfeit lost 1. So they had that forfeit not happen. Who knows? They might both be 2-2 in that preseason. So I don't really have anything to go off of other than that. So it seems like they could be pretty evenly matched, but I'm sure this first map will give us a little bit more of a clue into how this will all unfold. But here we are on Coastline, a more frag-heavy map. We're probably going to see it more attacker-sided. That's at least the traditional way that this map unfolds. And with this being such a small map, fragger-heavy, you don't necessarily see this traditional bans of like a Thatcher, for instance. So what do you think we're going to see here?
Ban-wise, most likely some type of hard breacher like a Habana or an Ace, possibly. They're really strong when it comes to getting that skylight area opened up when attacking hookah billiards, but Jackal will be banned first and foremost, which is also a very reasonable ban. The roam game on a map like Coastline is incredibly strong, so it doesn't really surprise me that we're going to have Johnson and Wales to go for that ban right off the bat. It's a very, very reasonable one to top that off. Maybe a Blackberry will get banned instead, possibly by Dominguez Hills. Also wouldn't really surprise me, but no, the Nomad instead. That's going to be able to deny most flank watch. You're going to have to now bring that gridlock instead, and it also gets rid of some possible run-out denial possibilities as well, which, on a very aggressive map like Coastline, is not an uncommon thing to witness.
You're absolutely right. The roam game being very heavy, so Jackal is going to be off the board to help those roamers have an easier time of it. We're going to see the Malusi taken out in defense. Her wubs really slow people down, give away positions, and then on top of it, the Banshees do there's 3 of them. They have a decent range. And so we're going to have to rehost here, though. We do see that there is a glitch, possibly, or something going on. Either way, we're going to have to reset this. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to come back into this ban and just redo this whole situation that we saw. I think, I don't know the rules exactly with this. I'd have to look them up. But they might have to redo the bans or keep them, depending. So, we'll see how that all unfolds. In the meantime, what should we do here? Should we do some sponsors? Some more sponsorship? Crank some of those out.
I'd absolutely love to, so I'll just go ahead and just say mine. So Respawn products are forged for all-day comfort for content creators, professional and casual players, or anyone looking to upgrade their setup. Respawn provides the gaming community with the highest quality of ergonomic gaming furniture at affordable prices. Respawn has been battle-tested and achieves a level of comfort that leaves competitors in the dust. Live to play another day with Respawn, your battle-ready partner. Gotta respect them. It's a pretty good advertisement, I do say so myself. I definitely need to upgrade on some furniture. I got a very illustrious gaming chair myself, but I think it's time I need to move on. Respawn might be the go-to market to go to that, possibly.
Yeah, the wooden chair you're sitting on, man, just makes me feel so
I'm so comfortable right now.
I do not have something like that.
I'm sitting easy.
That's
great.
I don't know when the last time it was that I sat in a chair that uncomfortable. Probably family dinner, 7 years ago. But In any case, I'm going to move on to something I know a lot about, HyperX. So I have the headphones myself, so I can speak for them. Very good company. The HyperX mission has been to develop gaming products for all types of gamers. High-speed memory, solid-state drives, headsets, keyboards, mice, charging accessories for console players, USB flash drives, and mouse pads to the gaming community and beyond. HyperX gear is the choice of celebrity ambassadors, pro gamers, tech enthusiasts, and overclockers worldwide because it meets the most stringent product specifications and is built with best-in-class components. And I really do mean it. I've had these for a few years now. I can speak for it. I see no reason to change the headset. I've looked at some different polls. You want to do your research on equipment like that, and I found that this was one of the highest rated headsets for gaming, especially since I love Siege. It's the highest rating, at least when they're comparing it to like Logitech, for instance. They found that this was the better headset. So that's not to throw shade at anyone else, but just some background research. So this is no fluff. This is real stuff. Looking at it, we're gonna have these bands redone here. I believe. Are they going to be the same?
It was the Jackal, and then followed up by a Nomad, and then Malusi. I don't know if they got to the last band, though. I don't actually.
It was a mirror, but I don't know if they actually meant to select it. That's the main thing.
Maybe not. Sure. So we'll let them. We could allow them to redo the bands. I don't see any harm. No harm, no foul whatsoever. It's just a couple of seconds taken out of our day, but it's not the end of the world. It happens all the time. So.
Right. Yeah, life is rough sometimes, but I do expect them to keep the bands the same anyway for the most part. What we saw, I mean, they're pretty standard on Coastline. You don't worry about metal breaching too much on this map. As I mentioned, small map, really fragger heavy. There's not a lot of places you need to breach unless someone decides to go up into that penthouse hold, but that's actually not a very common hold anyway. If it was held, it'd be like a third site. So we'll see how it works out there. But seeing the Nomad band, that makes sense. You mentioned the runouts, but even just the rotations from stairways and different flank positions. So leaving that open makes it so you won't get hit by those air jabs because they can be really pesky and annoying. On the other side of things, though, the Malusi, I expected to see after the Malusi, and again, I don't know if the Miro is on purpose, but I expect to see probably a Valk band. That's very common on this map because you can throw those cameras outside. Then you have nice lines of sight under these attackers, and they might not know where that camera is, and then you know when they're going to try and push in from many different directions, especially if it's out. I don't know the cardinal directions, but outside of Aqua Balk, if you throw it at an angle, you can see both the Aqua Balk and the Hookah Balk. So that's a really powerful cam position if they're not aware of you throwing them out. So that's a ban you see very commonly on this map. But I mean, I just say that just because the Mira, I just don't. It's okay, right? Like there's some uses for it. If you do like a downstairs hold in the sunshine. Sunrise and Blue Bar.
Same thing.
It is the same thing, roughly speaking. But that's the most powerful position, I think, to use here looking into blue, because a lot of people open up that back wall and play from lobby, and you just don't hold blue itself. You have the mirror looking in. So that's the most powerful hold I can think of with the mirror. Otherwise, not too many other places to put that. I mean, if you do put it in other places, it's just more supportive, but it doesn't really change anything the way you're holding it. So I don't think that's just my opinion. I don't think it's the best band. So we'll see if they stick with it.
I completely agree. She is almost a complete necessity though, when it comes to going blue and pink bar, like you mentioned. Can make things a lot easier when it comes to denying the plant, especially on the blue bar side. If the attackers get that main wall opened up rather quickly into the round near office side and go for a plant, Mira can just deny it with the intel that she has already gathered up by her gadget, and then just use her secondary C4 at hand and just kind of ruin that entire playstyle along with a smoke. The Mira can be used by any player in the game, even the attackers, so they can just throw a Toxic Babe right through the little kill hole, detonate it on the Chard, and then just be sitting pretty watching the opposition just die out in the middle of sight. So it's a pretty crucial pick to that objective room, but I would call it a necessity, but it's doable without her. And then there are, of course, other sites where you can pick her on. There is Hookah, where you can play her in the middle of Vase or near that rotational hole near the top of Cool Vibes, that we can try to deny the push leading inside of Hookah itself. There's also some spots you can hold in Kitchen near that rotational hold. And even, I believe, you can also use it on Penthouse and Theater, but the only problem is Penthouse and Theater is not a very favorable site for the defenders, and especially on an attacker-sided map, you want to go those very winnable sites like Kitchen and Service, like Blue and Pink Bar, that way you don't have to work incredibly hard to win those important rounds.
Right, and this being, again, typically attacker-sided, we could see a difference there. It might not go that way, but if it does, then they might not even need to go through a third site, right? So we might see the traditional kitchen and then also up in hookah, billiards. So those two primary sites, we could very well just see only those two sites if the attackers win, because the defenders would likely just go back to one of those if they don't win it the first time around. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Now, the attacker lineup I expect to see with the Jackal and Nomad banned, this can be very interesting because there's a lot of different combinations you can still do. You mentioned the gridlock if you wanted that safety net for the roaming and the flanks. You don't have the Nomad anymore, so the gridlock stinger is being thrown down. She also has smoke grenades and pockets, so that's a very possible choice, but a lot of teams just forego it too. So they might not even bring her. They might just use flank watch with the drones instead, which I think you just need anyways, but they'll just have to be even more careful. I think potentially a zero could be brought, depending on the defense and what lineup they want on an attack, but I think he's underrated. He brings those 4 cams in pocket, and I think because he's that new op, and he doesn't have the grenades anymore, I think people just have decided not to bring him as often, but I still think he's actually a pretty powerful operator. The other people I expect to be brought, though, this is a frag-heavy map, so either Zofia or Ash, if not both, should be brought like every round probably. Outside of that, some hard breach, so you'd often see either an Ace or a Hibana. You mentioned the hard breach on that wall. If you're on top of the roof in the square area looking towards the billiards back room with the couches and everything, you can open that up. So at least one of those two probably brought as well. But they have a lot of versatility, knowing that they don't actually need to focus on hard breach so much. They don't need supportive ops like a Thatcher or Maverick to support another hard breach. So the loadout, the lineup for the different ops on attack on this map can be very, very versatile. The other thing I'd be interested to see is if we're going to see a Montaigne or a Shield op brought. But it looks like everyone is in the lobby, so we might be able to start in here soon if everyone is ready. Okay, we are waiting
on a couple more people.
Yeah, one person to ready up, but yeah.
Momentarily, we'll continue on. But another thing about the operators that we might see for California State University, like you mentioned, frag heavy map. You want to know who is the most annoying operator to deal with on a frag heavy map? Blackbeard. You want to know why? That Saran wrap around his shield, it may be memed on quite a lot, but that thing can still, tank up a couple of bullets here and there, which on some players, it can really catch them off guard. In a one-shot headshot based game, being able to take a couple of shots, that can allow you to, tip the tide in your favor and actually confirm that first kill for your team. And once you get that snowball effect going in your favor, it's very unlikely to stop that. I know you've mentioned in a couple of our previous casts together that I believe it's an 80% chance that you're going to end up winning the round if you get the first pick. So 80%, that's a pretty big number, especially compared to 20. That's about 4 times as likely.
Yeah, looking at the ban, Nomad is going to be brought out as the first ban again. So I think it was Jackal, so maybe they flipped before it was Jackal as the first one. So not sure what's exactly happening, but yeah, it's still falling in suit of what we saw before. But going to your point, yeah, I have mentioned that, and I think again, that's at the highest level of play. So I always want to bring in that caveat where it's okay, just keep in mind that might not exactly be the same statistics that fall through. Maybe at this level of play, the opening frag isn't as important. Maybe it's even more important. I don't know. But that is something to continue to watch out for. Now the Valkyrie ban comes out. This is the one I was talking about. She can throw those cameras outside. Oh boy. So we had some ping issues on this server specifically.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to have to do it all over again, folks. We apologize for that. Wasn't in the plan, of course. We're not scripting this to continue to be delayed. It's not what we want. But
this is my plan all along, Wes. You can't leave me now. There's no escape.
Man. I'm a little freaked out.
You should be. You should be.
But yeah, I don't know. seeing them switch already once, like, are they going to continue just to keep switching what they want to ban, just to keep throwing them off? Well, they think we're going to do this, and now we're going to throw a different one in there. It's like, I don't know. But maybe the Valk ban, because we did see the order that was like flipped. Maybe the Valk ban was the original choice, and the first time they had that bug, so they just kind of threw a ban out there to try and, just get it over with so we can reload, rehost. I don't know if that was the mentality, but either way, I do expect them to keep relatively the same bans that we just saw. I think the Nomad, the Jackal.
I can let you go on though. It's okay. I know
it's all right. Good. No, it's good.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man. Oh, all right. I thought you were, and then you took a moment to catch your breath. I was like, oh, perfect, my time to go. And then it's like, no, it happens though. It happens all the time. It just happens. I think it was just a switch up, just based off the fact that Johnson and Wales was defending first, or pardon, not defending first. They were banning first one of the times, and the other time it got flipped around. So I think they were banning the same people, just at a different pace. What's the word? Different order. That's the word. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Different sequence as well.
But they shouldn't be switching orders because you chose to start.
That's not how it's supposed to go.
That's scary. Oh, okay. Oh, so remake one was actually to switch those sides. Okay, so it was the wrong sides originally. Okay, so this makes a little more sense now that we're talking about it a little bit more. So hopefully everything is sorted out this time. Hopefully the server, come on, Ubi, let's just work out for us.
Ubisoft.
But yeah, I'm excited to see this matchup, but I'm really wondering how much this affects the mentality, because the game already went late. Right, and now that's being delayed even further because of all the bugs. Like, that can actually be really demoralizing for the teams. So hopefully they come in and they have that mental fortitude to still come in and play at the top of their game. Because I've had it before. Like, I don't know if anyone plays in like Go For tournaments or Face It tournaments or anything like that. But that's the same thing. Sometimes your game, you have to wait for the next team to be ready. Like, it's one of those kinds of tournaments. So a lot of the times when you're sitting there waiting, and like sometimes it's like an hour delay, or someone can test the results, so you have to wait for someone to come in and clear. Oh, they weren't cheating, so they can move forward. Like, things like that. Oh man, you just like eventually you just want to be done. You're like, I don't want to play anymore. So hopefully that isn't the mentality. Hopefully they're still ready to go. This is the first matchup of the season for them, so I'm sure they're still excited. The energy hopefully can keep them up even despite this delay. But we are loading in now. And I think this time we should be good. Third time's the charm. That's what they say. So I knock on. Well, my desk's made of metal, so that doesn't really work. But you can knock on your chair.
Yeah, that works. Oh my god! But yeah, great point. Hopefully, this is the last time we'll see this occur throughout the entire best of 3, not just this first map. But finally, we're going to see the bans come out for a third, hopefully final time until we go to that Oregon matchup. Nomad again going to get banned. I think we're going to see just the exact same bans come out again. I think they're going to just keep their hand firmly gripped on what they had originally the first 2 times. It really wouldn't surprise me. Yep, there's the Nomad, there's the Jackal. I mean, we can go over the Valkyrie a little bit more because she wasn't banned originally, but that's really all I could see being discussed.
Yeah, I think the Valk will be stuck with. I already mentioned why. Those cameras are really powerful. You throw them out, it gives you a lot of lines of sight to the people outside the building, which you normally wouldn't have, of course. And so that's why that's super powerful. The last ban, then, will it be the Melusi? That's the question here. I think it probably will be. She is strong on this map. There's a lot of choke points to put those Wububs or Banshees, or I just call them Wububs because they make the noise. But I still expect her to be brought because she is powerful on this map. In general, she's powerful. A lot of people are talking about how OP she is. So unless they nerf her, I think her ban rate will stay at least at a decent percentage.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Valkyrie and both Melusi. We did go over the fact that Mirror isn't incredibly strong on Coastline. She's good on a lot of maps overall, but I agree that Melusi is probably a much better pick. She's just so incredibly annoying. She gives off great intel. Her gadget's bulletproofed. You've made some of those points literally right now. It just kind of just hammering that fact in. But we're actually see the gridlock coming out.
Yeah, the gridlock is coming out. So they do still want that extra protection on the flank. Her stingers can be thrown down, laying traps for those defenders to fall into if they try and walk through them. They can take 10 points of damage per one, I believe. And so that can be really tricky when there's a bunch of them lined up in a row. We do see the Wamai being brought. That 6 pick is in counter to the Capital. The Capital Firebolts can only be caught by the Wamai disc, so it makes sense to see that brought. And Thatcher is on the board, so they're going to bring him instead of the Sledge. Now, how useful is a Thatcher on this map depends on how you want to use him. If they're worried about those Wamai discs catching the different Capital bolts, then yes, you can throw a Thatcher in and hopefully it'll hit. And you have clear sailing for those arrows to fly in. So it makes sense, but there's also the Thatcher doesn't destroy the gadgets anymore. It only deactivates them. So if they don't time it well, it could still be useful to throw those Wamai discs and catch the arrows. So it's all coming down to timing. Thatcher is now a lot more skillful, I think, than in the past. Before, just throw it, destroys their gadget, done. Now it's like, okay, yeah, you're delaying their gadget working again, but it's only about 10-15 seconds. I can't remember what the exact time was, but it's a decently long time, but it might not work out if you don't time it still together, as I was mentioning. We do see Mozzie brought, so he's really useful on the roam. He can help you deny that drone game that they're going to bring in. Without the Jackal, it's all drones to find these roaming defenders, and so he's going to help with that. The Mute Mozzie combo, so Mute as well. And Legion can stop plants if you get a needle in your foot. So it makes sense looking at this lineup. They brought the Hibana we mentioned, so she's probably going to shoot at that wall of the billiards back wall in the square area here. So you talked about that a bit. The defensive side, the other op I would like to see brought, and he's not maybe necessary, but I think he is very powerful, is the Maestro. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him brought.
Yeah, that 80 bullet Alda is just a menace in any type of gun engagement, along with the fact that his cameras give off great intel. They can occasionally deny the plant that will occur by the attackers. In this instance, it will be Johnson & Wales University. But also the fact that, because they are bulletproof, they're really hard to get rid of. And they can also see through smokes as well, again, for that plant denial. So overall, he's just a great operator to bring on the board. And that's why he has a relatively high pick rate against some other defenders. But when it comes to, I believe, Thatcher now on the board, it's mostly, like you said earlier, just for the utility-based denial, and it is a little bit more skillful now as well, but I'm not really going to go too much in depth, but I think he did a great job of that already. But a beautiful opening frag coming out by, I believe that is Errol. I can't quite tell. The vision is very blurry at the current moment. Another frag coming out now as well, now a 5-on-3, and already Johnson & Wales covering a lot of ground, getting some sight lines in the middle of billiards, and so far looking pretty well. About a minute 15 on the clock now. Is the screen also blurry for you, Woku?
Yeah, it's the bitrate isn't the greatest, so that's all right.
The rainbow.
Yeah, that's true. We do see a kill picked up. That's on the defense though, and so that's Squall getting a kill onto a dome smooth, and that's going to bring it back to a closer even man count. But these attackers still have a 1-man advantage, and they have 50 seconds to play with. But they are pushing from multiple directions. They're out here on the aqua balcony. We do have lines of sight, but I think this is where the push is going to have to come from. Ooh. Coin flips is going to get Squall though, and so that's going to bring it back to an even greater man count for these attackers. Now they only have 2 defenders left to contest with.
Yep, 4v2 now, looking relatively strong for Johnson & Wales. They try to make their way inside of Aqua here. It's going to be the Jaeger, though, trying to wide swing around. He'll light up Gent, but he'll finally get shut down by Coin Flips. Now a double kill for the aggressive Thatcher. It's just up to Playboy, left by his lonesome in the middle of Vase. He does not have a lot of time to work with. That plant going off, smokes being thrown across the ways to deny his line of sight. It already looks to be like a winning round here for Johnson & Wales, but Playboy will still try to contest. He'll pick up one onto Meow, but he's got to find 3 separate frags in about less than 30 seconds if he wants to get that plant diffuse off successfully. He'll try to work his way now inside of Billiards, playing behind Minibar at the current moment, waiting for someone on Johnson & Wales to get far too aggressive. He'll try to find some shots onto the player in Aqua, but he's not going to land him at the perfect moment. And there we have it. Johnson & Wales starting things off relatively well, taking round number 1 against the Hookah and Billiards defensive site.
Yeah, Gent and Ted over there getting that last kill, getting on the scoreboard for themselves. But those attackers, really those opening 2 frags is what led the way for that round to really fall in their favor. Being at a man disadvantage on a frag-heavy map like this, it's really hard to recover from. The defenders would have had to have honestly rotated back to site and held angles and denied the push. but there were still some roamers, and we saw Squall did get a kill, but then he's almost instantly refragged, and so then it's down to 2 defenders, and then the Jaeger, I don't mind the aggression, but honestly, this isn't like trying to be mean, but he kind of whiffed on those shots, and there's 2 people, so even if he got the first kill, the chances of him getting the second, when he didn't seem like he noticed that there was another person out there on Aquabell, weren't high. And so the aggression might help you bring it closer to man count, but I think at that point you probably should have played back, tried to play the time. You did only have about 40 seconds for those attackers to try and get the plant down, and then you're in a better situation letting them come to you as a defender rather than try and go on the aggression. And he gets shut down, and then he leaves his teammate in the 1v4. So it's not the greatest situation to find yourself in for Playboy. Hopefully his teammates can stay alive a little bit longer.
Yeah, as a defending team, you want to try and force the attackers to make those early game mistakes and then market off them. You don't have to overextend yourself. That'll lead you to getting killed early on to the round, like Welku just mentioned. So, like he said, playing a little bit more passively, taking the time, and really thinking about what you want to do before you actually do it can really benefit you, especially on those early rounds. You could see the entire outcome of an entire map just based on the first couple of rounds. You know, morale has a big thing to do with certain round wins as well. If you're already down in the slumps in your mental game, that will possibly affect your overall just play style in general. But at the current moment, CSU doesn't really look that stunned by their first loss. We do have Squall on this deep roam, almost getting into an encounter against Meow, but Meow's going to actually opt to just go all the way around, possibly onto the DJ booth rappel, and then try to make his way in towards VIP. A much smarter play, if I'd say so myself, but he's not going to do it just yet. Still taking a lot of time to process his current situation. Still have a pretty deep roam as well. It looks to be more of an extended situation, as I don't think there's that many anchors on site. I think it might just be one, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, we saw an eastward push on the second floor from all those defenders in the beginning of the round. We see Jaeger and Wamai playing up in VIP and penthouse area. Over in theater, we see the Warden as well, and I think they have a shotgun in their hand, which is pretty interesting to be brought here, using that SMG-12 as a backup to do the distance, but that gun isn't the most wieldy weapon, so that could prove fatal if he has to be in a very long distance engagement. So hopefully his teammates can help support there. There's only the Legion of Playboy playing near site here, and we did see a Capital was on the window next to him here in Hookah. We'll see if they're going to do anything with that. They might have moved off of it by now, but that's something to watch out for. He does have those smoke arrows as well as the fire arrows in his arsenal, so it could cut off the site. And if everyone's caught unawares on this side of the map, if they do an aqua push, for example, right now, all these defenders are not near site to deny it. But it looks like they're going to focus on trying to clear them out, even though they don't really need to. Site control could easily be these attackers. Oh, Meow's going to get a kill, though, and that's on to It's Kuma. And that's going to be the opening kill yet again, coming in the favor of these attackers.
Great shot by Meow, but he's going to have to find a couple more as now a new opponent approaches his way inside of DJ, or pardon, I should say VIP, my mistake. I'm not too sure if Meow is aware, though. He almost has the angle lined up now going on his camera. He gets the soft ping by himself. Stun grenades coming out now to try and disorientate him. This could be a very free frag, and I don't know if his teammates here to back him up. Possibly the wide swing comes out, but just at the wrong moment. We will have Let's Smoke in bed be able to recover from those couple of flashbangs. The man advantage now back in the favor of CSU in a 4-on-3 with very little time left. It's just an ocean of blue as it's just up to strict viral now outside of blue balcony, and he'll get shut down by Playboy. It's going to be a actually comeback round win by CSU, evening things up 1-1 going into round number 3.
Job well done from the defense. These attackers didn't seem to know what they wanted to do. They were doing different things. Some people are trying to clear out together. The men over there on the other side of the map, I forget which cardinal direction that is, but over in VIP and Pent. So they were allocating resources there. I actually thought that with so many men off site, it would have been better just to go for a straight push onto site when you know that there's only a couple of those defenders even near it. Maybe have someone stay back and watch the choke angles. Have someone sit on that double window knowing that there's a player near VIP. They would have had to rotate either all the way around through theater to try and rotate back to site, or they would have to engage with you on that window, and you could just hold a cutoff there, and then the rest of your team pushing it through Aqua. It would have been a 4v2. There's only 2 of those defenders even near site, so that would have been a far more favorable situation. But good job from the attackers. They did make them wary of where to push, made them engage with them. And while they did lose the first man, after that, we did see that they were able to just get the frags that were necessary. And when they tried to push from Aqua as well, we saw Playboy just shutting them down before they had a chance to even get any control. So good job for them.
Yep, like you said, great work there by Playboy. And now that Hookah Billiards has been won by CSU, we're going to actually see a site take onto Kitchen and Service. And because Mira actually did not get banned on the final ban phase for the third time, Mira will actually be in play here for this objective room. I think there will be one Mira window in between sites near that rotational hole. That could possibly be to deny the plant coming in through Service doorway. I can't quite make it out yet, but in fact will be. And the other Mira window will actually be in the back of shelves. That's to deny the long angle heading in towards security doorway. So that can possibly nick you a couple of free kills here and there. So great setup by her, and the rest of the lineup is very strong as well. Again, the double denial of Jaeger and Wamai, it's going to burn through a lot of Johnson and Wales' utility. That's going to force them to have to play a lot more gun heavy rather than using their own utility to their advantage. And also, the Mozzie getting rid of some drones here and there and having that C4 in his back pocket is not too bad of an operator to bring either.
Yeah, I like the loadout coming from the defenders. Nothing really to criticize. They keep the smoke in pocket just because you want something to deny the plant that could potentially come out. Choke them out, especially if they're trying to push in through that surface door or on the kitchen window, either one. And we do see the roam game is very strong. Yet again, they're playing above. This time they're watching out for that verticality. There is the sledge on the board for the attackers, which makes sense because that's what you're going to need to do. Open up the floor here, look down below, try and find these defenders. Dizzy's going to get killed onto coin flips, and that's an opening kill coming out for the defense. So they're already starting off with holding out and not letting these attackers push into where they want to. That is the Ash off the board as well. So all of her gadgetry breaching charges and Ash breaching charges are all off the board now.
Dizzy going to take some damage, a little bit of a clap back, and he'll finally be taken down by Meow, evening things up 4-4. But again, there's going to be a couple of more roamers on this secondary floor that Meow is going to have to pick up if he wants to start doing that vertical play or allowing Strict Viral to get that vertical play. And speaking of Strict Viral, he'll in fact pick up the kill onto Let's Smoke in Bed, allowing him to start using his primary gadget of that sledgehammer. Kool-Aid manning his way through that destructible flooring, and that's going to give them some very lovely sight lines into the middle of Kitchen and Service. Some damage will be done to Playboy as he tries to use his Toxic Babes to slow down that previously mentioned vertical play, but it's not that successful. I believe Strict Viral only taking a minimal amount of damage. C4 goes out as well, but just not going to be able to land onto anybody up above. This is looking to be a relatively hopeless round for CSU. The only thing going for them right now is the fact that there's not that much time for Johnson and Wills to work with, and if they can still have a pretty firm grip onto site, this could be a very massive win for them. Do have Gent not too far away from that mirror window. That could possibly guarantee CSU a possible refrag, but they're again going to just narrowly miss those shots, forcing Johnson and Wells to have to contest them just head forward here. So he's going to try to just rush right on through the smoke. Meow picking up a second. Can he find the third, though? He'll injure Kuma, finishing him off. He's just bulldozing his way through sight as the plant will go down by Gent on the gridlock. And this is looking to be a comeback round so far for CSU, as it's just up to Squall by his lonesome in the middle of bathroom. He'll finish off Meow on very little HP, but he's got to find 3 more, and he won't even find a second in compensation. Strict Viral shutting him down in the main hallway, and that's going to give Johnson and Wales their second round win.
Yeah, good job from the attack. They clear upstairs, and they only lose 1 man for it, which is all right when you still have the sledge on the board, opening up those lines of sight below. The main thing I want to highlight is we did see the gridlock, and I don't remember what the other op was, but they were both paired up moving, and that's the ace. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yes.
They were both over near that security area, down beneath white stairs, and Squall was literally in that hallway right next to them. Had he just flanked them, they weren't even watching his direction. Had he flanked into lobby, even when they're pushing towards that bathroom door where they got the frag on the smoke in the bathroom, he could have prevented that kill from coming out. He could have got a double kill because they weren't watching their back. That could have flipped the round, but he stayed back for way too long. And then by the time he's rotating, yeah, he's able to get 1 kill, but it's a 1v4 in a post-plant situation. It's just not favorable. So just the timing was off for him. So the defenders, they could have won that round. It's just a slight adjustment. Just the game sense just need to come back a little sooner. The site to help support your teammates could have flipped the round on its head for the defenders to win. In this case, they're going to have to go back, but they're going to go back upstairs as that is opened yet again as well.
Yeah, minor inaccuracy there by Squall, but that's completely fine. It happens all the time. Hey, there might have even been gridlock tracks denying him of entering his way through security. We really weren't able to get a keen eye on exactly what the problem was, but he'll reattempt the hard roam, but this time now on the Vigil. A very preferable op to run is you can deny a lot of drone game being performed by Johnson and Wales when they're trying to flush out those said roamers. So it works hand in hand with the way you want to play Vigil, but preparation phase now finishing up. We are again seeing that Wamai and Jaeger combo. Really doesn't surprise me that we are seeing them, even though the 20-second meta has kind of died down a little bit. They're still very strong when put together. They're kind of like the peanut butter and jelly of Siege, if you want to be completely honest, at least operator-wise. They just, again, go hand in hand. They're a match made in heaven, at least if you're the defenders. I wouldn't say so much about Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, it can definitely be obnoxious, and being paired together is certainly a good thing for the defenders. They're going to feel a lot more comfortable, especially with nades in hand of these attackers. There's going to be an engagement though, and a deuce move is going to be killing Squall, and that's the roamer that we were just talking about, and he's off the board early in this one. The attacker is getting that opening frag within the first minute of the round. That's really good for them. Now they have that man advantage. We'll see what they're able to do with it. They're still doing some drone work as well.
Yeah, not a great start for CSU, but a beautiful shot being performed by a dose move. That's going to be the main roamer already taken care of, and a lot of time to work with still for Johnson and Wales. And I don't actually know if there's anyone directly on site. There is one player behind couches in Aqua, but that's just going to be Dizzy. We will have a return, though, by Playboy, and also it's Kuma on Cool Vibe Stairwell. But Coin Flip finding another frag for Johnson and Wales, now making things 5-3 in a two-man advantage. It's going to be a slow collapse in towards both hookah and billiards. A plant could go down very soon once Johnson and Wales shuts down Dizzy in the middle of Aqua Balcony, but the attackers are still taking their time, making sure they're in the proper positions to win this round. They don't want to give away any other rounds here for the defenders. A little bit of an oddball stun grenade. I think he believed that main wall to be opened up. I don't know if that's a visual bug on us, but anywho, back onto a dose move. We do have him currently holding that back Aqua doorway, not really finding anything in towards luggage, but that's completely fine. A very slow, methodical take, as again, Johnson and Wales does not want to lose this man advantage that they currently have.
Yeah, looking at the drone academy, they do have 4 drones. Strict viral though, and killing the Dizzy, and now they're into 5v2 and a 2v4 now for the defender side of things. They do find another frag. That's a dose move, and Meow being taken off the board. It's Playboy, Nick. It's Kuma. They're going to have to make this work out in a 2v3. They're still in a man disadvantage, but they've definitely brought it back closer. But Coin Flip, he's going to stop that from happening as he gets a kill on Itzkuma. Now it's up to Playboy yet again. He's been in this situation before. The plant isn't quite down, but it doesn't matter. Coin Flip's going to shut him down, and that's another round for JWU.
Massive round there by Coin Flips, now making things 3-1, I believe. Going in round number 5, this is a pretty attacker-sided Coastline, but that is nothing to not expect, as, again, Coastline, probably one of the most attacker-favorited maps, so we're most definitely going to at least see a 4-on-2 split. That's my prediction currently. There are still a couple of rounds where that could possibly change. Maybe we'll have CSU possibly come back a little bit, maybe bring it to 3-on-3, but I'm not entirely sure right now. It just seems like Johnson and Wales is on an absolute heater at the moment. But 6-pick coming out here by Squall. He'll go back to the informational operator of the Mozzie, and we are seeing that old school Mutant Mozzie meta. I mean, we've been seeing both of these operators being brought on the board so many different times, Woku. We are seeing a little bit of return by them.
Yeah, we've seen a couple things being brought back. I think the shield play has just been brought almost religiously in some of our leagues. Now, we did see them switch off, and so that's the 2 different ways I've seen people defending in the current meta. Either you bring a decent amount of shields with a Jaeger and maybe even a Wamai too, so they pair all those together, trying to keep the utility meta somewhat alive. Or the other thing that we are seeing here, the Mozzie Mute combo that you had mentioned. So those are the 2 ways I think that people have adapted now into the changes that have occurred. You know, Jaeger's ADS only burning one thing every 10 seconds now. Instead, is unfortunate. An impact taking away half of Dizzy's life and half of Playboy as well. An impact that was definitely not meant to be thrown there. Luckily, it didn't hit the shield that was next to both of them, so that shield is still standing. I was worried that that would also go down. So there's at least a little bit of a silver lining there. That shield will still help them out, but that's still nothing that you want two teammates half dead, and the round hasn't technically even started, but these attackers are starting, opening up the white window with the sledgehammer, but he goes to roof, so he's not actually going to contest there, just making the defender that was there a little bit scared. He rotated down below.
Yeah, Playboy is going to have to be very precautious when going into these one-on-one confrontations, or any confrontations, might I add, as he's just about 2 shots away from meeting his maker, so again, not in the best position for him, or Dizzy, in fact, as I believe he's on about 55 health and Playboy's on 45, so either way, they could both get taken out of the equation very early onto the round, which would not be what CSU wants to go into. We do have Squall currently underneath. He might go for a possible C4 toss to deny the player coming in towards penthouse window, but I'm not entirely sure. Or in fact, if he wants to get really frisky, he could even go for a run out. But already, we're going to have Coin Flip now drop into the hatch of bathroom. Meow going to follow up him through the window. And there goes the C4. Beautiful play there by Squall, shutting down the hard breacher of Meow very early into the round. And CSU looking a little bit better for wear here, as about 1:30 now is about to pass up, and they do in fact have the man advantage.
Yeah, that was really smart heads-up play. They're playing off of knowledge from previous rounds. They know that the attackers really like to push through that penthouse area, trying to get top floor control off to the east side of the map before they start pushing on the site. We've seen it a few times in these past rounds, and so the defense is finally making some adjustments here. There's a nice kill, though, coming out from a Doe Smooth, and that's on to Playboy, someone who has been pretty clutch. He's gotten kills almost every single round, but now he's off the board.
Oh, this peek could possibly come by a dose move. He could find another. He's pretty well aware that Mozzie is underneath, and they have someone watching the flank along with a Claymore. Wide swing coming out, though. He'll spot the body, finally picking up Squall. That's going to be now a 4-on-3 favoring Johnson and Wales, and Strict Viral going to follow suit. Now making things a 3-on-2 as Let's Smoke in Bed will get somewhat of a refrag, but the man advantage still favoring JWU by just 1 player. We do have Coin Flip take a massive amount of damage by the Echo player. That will finally even things up. Let's Smoke in Bed finding another. It's just up to a dose move. Now having to find 4, but he'll pick up the 3rd right before I finish my sentence. He just has to find Kuma in the back of Hookah. He'll go for the plant in a really odd spot that could possibly be to throw off the Echo player. Yokai comes out. Zofia now getting concussed just a tad bit. It's 10 seconds on the clock. He has to either go for the frag or the plant. He'll go for the frag, but he'll fail! Kuma with the clutch! And that's going to give CSU a very crucial round win, now heading into the 6th.
The information wasn't there for him. That's all that was. You go for the plant, try and bait it out. You realize there's an Echo. You shoot one of the drones, but there's probably another drone, so you can't really go for that plant with the feeling of security. And so he goes for the frag, but unfortunately, thinking that they're over near that Cool Vibe stairs, did not get the information that the man was actually in the back of Hookah, even more towards the doorway than anything, and just wasn't able to switch over in time. The Echo playing a really smart game as well, getting a kill and then just playing back, utilizing the drones. I've seen people fail to do that, so really good job from them. Remembering their gadget in hand, and then on top of it, not being aggressive either, just playing back, knowing that the attacker has to come to them, really, which they did. And so this falls into his lap, an easy kill, and that's a 2nd round for them, bringing it a little bit closer here. They're going to try and find one more in order to... okay. I'm just noticing this is the same bomb site, right?
What?
And they just won.
They just won here. Yeah,
so they shouldn't be allowed to go to the same bomb site.
Why are they going here? Yeah, how is that even happening? What?
In the settings, it must not have the lockdown for 2 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah, this should be a setting to make it so they can't choose that bomb site again. So
I guess we're gonna have to go into a remake then. Okay.
Yeah, we have to rehost this. This is not allowed for them to go to the same bomb site. You have to go to 2 other bomb sites after winning a bomb site before you can go back to that previous bomb site. 6 rounds total for each side, and then you switch to the attacker side if you start in defense. In this case, that's what they did, so they should not be allowed to go to the site. We're gonna have to rehost this just because that is the rules of Siege Comp. And so, unfortunately, another rehost here, and we apologize for that. That is going to take a little bit more time to get all set back up.
Yeah, I guess when we get over and done with the rehost, I guess we can do a little bit of an ad break, I guess, as well, but not this very moment. We're still waiting for things to be wrapped up. That's really unfortunate to see. I had no idea. I don't think they actually ended up doing this the entire game up until now, so that's really odd. I think you have to abandon the match as well, that way everyone else is forced to leave. That's yeah, very unfortunate.
Yeah,
we might have to wait as well for the observer to be unbanned, because you might get like a penalty for leaving so many matches in a row. I don't know though.
I don't think that actually counts with custom games. It only happens if you make a lobby and you cancel it right away. You have to wait 5 minutes to create a lobby again. That's the only rules with custom games. But anyway, talking about the match itself, I don't think they had a chance. They had only won one site previously, right? And that was downstairs, I think, in kitchen, right, where Playboy got those last kills. We saw an opening frag come out, but then everything fell back into the defense's favor, and then they went back upstairs, which we just saw them win. So I'm trying to remember if they did go to the same site when they shouldn't have already in this matchup. Hopefully not. My memory isn't the best, so hopefully they didn't do that. But the other thing is, like, they should have known not to go there again. So even if the setting wasn't put in place, you probably just shouldn't choose the same bomb site immediately afterwards. But maybe they're new to Siege too. I don't know. These teams could have just been made. Someone's like, hey, you played CS:GO in the past, you want to come play for Siege? I mean, FPSs, you can usually transfer some of that mechanical skill. So they might not be familiar with the rules. They might, they didn't know because the settings weren't like it showed it available. So maybe they thought it was different. I don't know for sure. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say it wasn't a malicious act, right? Try and be positive about it. But looking at it, they're at 3-2 going into their last defense. CSU is. What do you think the adjustment's going to be here? Because they have to go either back downstairs to kitchen, or they have to go to blue Sunrise, or they could try a Pent, but I just don't think anyone tries that anymore. It's just not the best site. So what do you think the adjustment is? Yeah,
the only site that ended up winning was Hookah, now that I actually remember it. And they won them fair and square. They just tried going it for a third time, but it happens. It could have even been a fat finger for all that we know. But I don't know if they're going to want to test their luck on kitchen service. It really didn't look all that well for them, as they just really couldn't get a grip onto the vertical play, which is so hard to deal with once it finally goes into play against kitchen and service. They might want to opt to go blue and pink bar. There's a lot less vertical play that goes into that site, and it can make the roam game a little bit stronger at the same time. So I'm thinking we might see blue and bar be played, but some people are just, what was that? Yes, with Johnson and Wales in the lead, and then the only two sites that were won were Hookah. It's just Hookah.
Right.
For us.
Oh, quick, Caleb, I have to talk to you quick. So did you actually go into the game settings for this match list, though? Because you actually have to go change that in the settings of the... Yeah, you have to change it in the match, like the playlist, before you actually go into the lobby here. Okay. Well, just tell them that they're not allowed to go there, because it'll still pop up for them here. Since it wasn't changed to the settings. So we're gonna have to make that clear that they cannot go there. But whatever.
And we are in Oregon as well. Bring back to Coastline.
Yeah, I mean, that's on the wrong map too, which is all right. This is
let's go on the map too. It's okay, guys.
It happens. Mistakes could be made. It happens. We're gonna learn from it. Hopefully the team will learn from it as well. It just happens. But looking at it, I expect them to as well. I do think the Sunrise Blue Bar would be a better attempt, rather than going back to that kitchen defense, because the kitchen defense, they really lost top floor control so fast, and then from there they were never able to recover from it. So I think they could do a better job, because then you don't have to play watching blue in blue. You can play above. You can also play in the lobby. You can have that mirror window since she's not banned. So I have the mirror looking in from Sunrise into blue. Excuse me, I have hiccups here, but. Right. Hopefully that adjustment and that play style would be all right with them, that they feel like they can go there and be successful. But the thing is, not a lot of teams know this bomb site, depending on what their rank level is or how much comp experience they have. I've seen a lot of teams just because it has some complications to it, right? Like, do you know where to put the mirror in? Do you bring the right ops to make the rotate? Can you blow open the back wall of blue? Like, there's a lot of work that has to be done to make that bomb site viable, rather than, I think Kitchen's a little easier for most teams. It's a relatively straightforward strat to hold it. So I think that's the main difference. It's more comfortable to go to Kitchen. So if they do go back to Kitchen, my assumption is just out of comfort and the unfamiliarity that would come with a blue and sunrise hold. So
I agree, but to be honest, if you are a little down bad when going on to Kitchen, you should definitely maybe just try to go blue and pink bar. Even if you're aware of the mistakes you've made in the past, if it's happened a handful of times, it might be best just to be like, you know what? Let's just throw them a left hook. Maybe they won't expect it. Let's go blue and pink bar, and then we'll see how we can hold up against it. And if California State University doesn't end up winning this next round, it's not the end of the world. Like I said earlier, 4-2 split is pretty common when you're on the defending team and you have those 2 points. So I wouldn't be upset having a 2-round disadvantage after the first half. I would just have to realize that that's what you're going to expect, and you have to play around that rather than, being very mentally disadvantaged because of it. But we are going to see that kitchen and service site being played after all for the third and now final time until we have Johnson and Wales go on their defending half. And they have a very different lineup at the current moment. We are finally seeing that Goyo that I love to have. He's a great time waster. He's just about as good as Smoke. And in fact, we do have CSU bringing both of them on the board. So that could waste up to be about a minute worth on the clock overall, which if Johnson and Wales does not play their cards right, that could really just be the final nail in the coffin for this final transitional round.
Right, and they have the Jaeger ADSs to try and protect those shields depending on their placement. So we'll find out how well that works out. But the being paired with the Mira on top of it as well, you have shields you can, because the shields each have slit in them, right? So in case people don't know that, they have slits in them so you can see through them. And so that paired with the Mira, you have a lot of different angles where you're protected by these hard walls or the shield, and you're able to peek off of the lines of sight that you can see through those things. So it's very powerful to pair those together on top of the Goyo shields are able to be popped, as you mentioned, that fire, when you shoot them and destroy them, they have a fire that spreads, and it lasts a good few seconds there. So the attackers can't push it if you put it in a doorway, for example. It's just the same as like a Capital firebolt, except for on the defender side. And so that can be very well utilized to choke them up and waste time. And then on top of it, you have the smoke you mentioned. So a lot of different things that pair well together. And then on top of it, you have this mute. And so that's going to slow down anything for like hard breach. They can't necessarily open up the walls. Like they can't blow up the mirrors unless they take care of the mute chamber behind them. They can't drone people out as well if those mute chambers are on doorways. Like we see it in the doorway right there of kitchen looking in towards the sunrise area. So things like that are going to make it so they're just buying time. You buy time by denying information with the mutes, buy time by making them hesitant to push certain areas with the shields and with the mirrors, and then buy time with smoke and the shields being popped that are Goyo shields. So just a lot of time burners.
Yeah, speaking of time burning, only now has Johnson and Wales worked their way into the bathroom hatch and also trying to get out of that DJ hallway, but it works out for him in the end as Gridlock will in fact find the head of Let's Smoke in bed. That's going to be mute taken out for the count, and that's going to allow them to now do vertical play with about a minute 20 on the clock. Not the worst situation in the world, as they now also try to find one onto Dizzy. That's going to force Jaeger to be crept up behind in that minibar area, and ooh, strict viral. He's getting rather close. I don't know if he's aware that Jaeger's to his immediate right, though. This could be a massive blunder going for the sledgehammer. He's walking right into Jaeger, and he has no clue. That's going to be an immediate refrag, followed up by another trade coming out by Jen. And again, an injure will be attempted, and the C4 from underneath will in fact finish him off. Or actually, no, it was the pistol by Squall. It's just a constant frag fest against both teams, and now it's about 45 seconds on the clock, 3-2, favoring Johnson and Wales as more and more vertical play is coming out, trying to force these last two defenders in really compromisable positions.
They do only have Sophia charges and Ash charges left, possibly to open things up. And I do see one breach on the Sophia with her charges and her gadget, and then two on the Ash. So they only have so much self-destruction they can do, but it looks like it's enough, as Meow is going to pick up its Kuma, and it's all in the back of Playboy yet again. He finds himself in this position very, very often, it seems, and hasn't really had the greatest time of it. Put in 1v3 or 4 situations, and this time he's, again, not going to be able to make a miracle happen, and you can't really expect him to. That's going to be Coin Flip getting credited with that last kill, and that's 4 rounds for the attackers now.
With all the flash and glamour going into those past couple of rounds, we saw some beautiful clutches here and there. This is a pretty common first half for Coastline, so both teams are doing relatively well for one another, and now it's going to be basically just whoever can just frag the best, I suppose. Sounds a little odd for me to say that, as we could see the exact same thing happen again and go into overtime, but I don't know. I think now that we've seen all the standardized stuff come out, we might see things be performed a little bit differently, and already, I think my prediction is right. We're seeing some little slightly different picks coming out. We have Playboy on the Bucks, so even more vertical play can in fact come out no matter what site it will be. So on Hookah, he can go underneath in blue bar and just try to make quick work of that soft flooring. In fact, going to 6 pick off the Buck back onto Buck, so he's really confirming that pick for sure. And a little bit of the exact same thing on the side of Johnson and Wales, but that's not the worst thing either. Having that Jaeger and Wamai, again, really strong combination. The Legion, not only to stall some time against CSU, but also can give off some information if you can keep in the back of your mind where exactly those goo mines have been positioned. And then also the SAS combination of both the smoke and mute, not a bad idea either. So, not the end of the world at all. It's a really good pick so far.
Yeah, I'm looking at this lineup and I can see some good and I can see some criticisms I can bring, right? And I'm more looking at the attacker side of things, and I only say criticisms as like I'm not trying to be negative. It's all constructive criticism, so just please take that in mind. If anyone who's listening, this is all for the benefit. Hopefully, when they look back at the VODs, maybe they'll listen to us. I don't know if they'll mute us, but hopefully they don't, because I feel like we can give them decent insights. Looking at this, I like the Buck pick. You know they're up top floor. You can do verticality from below potentially, and you have the sledge. So you're doubling up on the soft breach, but that's all right. The main thing I am questioning here a little bit is the thermite choice. The main reason for that is, yeah, he can help you if you're going to take VIP. Let's say you open up that hard wall, you have a line of sight over into the billiards area. That's good, but you really do want those lines of sight from the roof into the back while they're leading into the square. And it's Kuma's going to get killed onto coin flips as I'm talking about all this, and so he's using that thermite gun well enough. So I guess that you can give credit for that, and that's the smoke off the board as well. So the plant denial is dead. But what I was going to say is you can't get that wall open because thermite has to physically go up to the wall and put his breaches on it. You don't really want your thermite repelling in the middle of square trying to put a breach on that back wall there of billiards. You'd probably get easily killed. There's so many different angles, so they're probably not even going to bother trying to open that up. But because of that, these defenders will be able to survive in billiards a lot more easily.
Yeah, especially with that smoke being off the board. That's about half a minute just completely unusable now with those toxic babes. That could have been the exact reason why one of these two teams ends up winning the round, but that man advantage now in the favor of CSU. They could try to work their way closer towards site, maybe one player going in through VIP, or in fact multiple, as we see 3 of them now stacked up in the middle of DJ booth. They could also try to get open that VIP wall as well, like Wes mentioned. I think they're going to try to just flush out the mute at the current moment. That's going to be strict viral. He'll get pushed rather aggressively, but win the first of many possible gunfights, shutting down Playboy. Can he find the second, though? He'll try to whip around the corner for a second time, but not going to be as lucky in that first gun engagement. Let's smoke in bed, finally finishing him off, and now that man advantage coming back in the favor of CSU. However, though, there's one more ace up Johnson and Wales' sleeves. They have Meow on the roaming Wamai with so much utility trying to help him out in the middle of Penthouse. If he can get at least one refrag against possibly Let's Smoke in Bed, that could in fact try to tip the tide back in the favor of these defenders, as we are getting past that last minute here, about 35 seconds on the clock, and we haven't seen CSU fully work their way into one of these 2 objective rooms. We do have its Kuma right outside of Hookah balcony, but hasn't really gotten that strong of a grip on this site just yet. He's got to wait for the rest of his team mates. Now Dizzy following him up as well. They're going to have to make this push very quick. They have very little time to work with, and it's going to be the rest of CSU to try and back him up from possibly VIP corner. So you also have Gent here right next to that corner area near Hookah doorway. Stun grenades coming out, trying to flush out the last few players. Let's Smoke finding 2, but the wide swing coming out by Gent will find 1, but he can't find another. But we have Ad from across the corner. He'll find the final 2 players. It's a massive clutch for Johnson and Wales, and they'll claim another round to their name, now bringing it 5-2 in their favor.
Job well done from that defense. And honestly, while they did have a man disadvantage, I actually thought the defenders should probably win that. And now the gunfights were showing that, it's a 4-2 at one point, so the attackers look like they should have it, because the Jaeger in Hookah only got 1 kill. But we saw the lines of sight. The Legion did live, and he was able to play basically in a similar position as Vase. He's able to stop that push from the VIP hallway and then easily flick back over to the hookah, which they did have a rotate hole into. So he's able to see over there where they're pushing. So he had a good line of sight into both of their pushes. So his position was just perfect for what they were trying to do. The other thing is, those two pushes don't complement each other. VIP trying to get through there, you don't have a line of sight to really support. And then you don't have a line of sight from the hookah push in the doorway. So they can't really work in tandem together. So those are almost like two separate pushes. So while, yeah, they had the man advantage, those defenders were able to easily just take each fight like individually. And at the end of it all, with time ticking down, it's a 1v1. The defender already knows, oh, my teammate just died in hookah. I can just flip over there. And the attacker just ran in. He has no idea that defender could be anywhere. So it's a lot easier for that defender to win that 1v1.
I think a better thing to do, you can correct me if I'm wrong, of course, Wes, but maybe trying to go both in towards Aqua and then Hookah, because you can get a sightline near the rotation and try to cut that guy off. That way you can't really deny the plan occurring, and then you can also get some sightlines near that VIP hallway and also the Hookah doorway, or Billard's doorway, my mistake, sorry. The other doorway I was thinking of, but yeah, not the most advantageous push, but it almost worked out. It did turn up to be a one-on-one, but Johnson and Wales just came out on top at the end of the day, and now they're going to try to repeat that same success, now heading in towards Kitchen and Service with a pretty strategic lineup. They have Meow on the castle, trying to waste a lot of time against CSU, and like we said before, time is of the essence, especially against the attackers. If the time goes down to 0 seconds and they don't have the bomb down, they'll end up losing. But while finding one frag early on into the round before the first minute has even ended, that's a much better start already for CSU.
Yeah, you were right. I'll just go back to your point. You were right. The main thing I'm gonna bring back a point I made though, not having the Hibana. They brought the thermite. They weren't able to open the back wall of Billiards, and a nice shot's gonna come up and not catch anyone. Meow did a lot of damage. But yeah, that idea of using the Hibana, they could have opened up Billiards, and guess what? That's exactly where that Legion was playing. A Dose move was in that position. Had they opened it with Hibana, he couldn't have played that position. So that's a key difference to think about. Meow, though, is going to be starting to get pincered by two different attacking operators, and he's going to rotate down below. And so those attackers are going to be wasting time trying to clear him out. And then with this drone, they're going to slowly realize they are no longer here. They've already rotated out. So good job clearing him, but Meow did waste a decent bit of time there. We'll see if it's enough. The Buck is on the board, so I assume that he's going to be up there with the sledge, just doing as much soft destruction above as possible. We do see a mute down below. I think they still have that. Yeah, they do have the C4 in hand, so they could potentially get a C4 kill on one of these soft destructors above.
Yep, very true. The C4 can really benefit, especially later into the round when the attackers aren't really worrying about that secondary utility. They're just trying to win their overall gunfights. And Strict Viral being rather patient. He has that C4 on the floor, but he cannot detonate it just yet, as that EMP actually disabled it for a couple of seconds. But once it's finally primed, he might just immediately grip and rip, trying to find some wall bangs from underneath. He'll deal some damage, but finally get finished off. Now CSU having the man advantage doubled up in their favor, as they're still trying to flush out some of the roamers. I don't know if they're aware of a Dose Move's current location. We will have Meow get spotted out though in the middle of Courtyard, now having returned to site. Gent will try to find some damage onto one, but the favor will get immediately returned, now forcing him to really try to go for these frags. But Playboy up above, finding another with that C7E. Finally, we have Meow try to find one frag, but it's just a 1v4 now, as Squall immediately trades it back. It's just up to Meow, as the plant's finally being finished off. Vertical play still being active, and that's going to be the end of Johnson and Wales' reign on this defense. CSU finally taking another round, a very crucial one indeed, might I add.
Yeah, this attack looked a lot cleaner. They knew what they were trying to do here. They got the floors opened up. They got the early picks. They even did some damage onto a second man who did rotate down, but they got top floor control fast enough. And then on top of it, these defenders just did not know how to play against that verticality. Unfortunately, when he threw that C4, it was caught by the EMP, as you had mentioned, so that C4 no longer usable. The Buck able to win out on the vertical play against the mute from there. And then at the end, then you're down to a 2v4, I think, or something like that. You're stuck in a really tight spot as the Jaeger. You saw him get picked off, and just give Squall some credit as well. did get a couple important kills. They got the opening kill, and they also got that last kill at the end. They just were doing work throughout the entire round. So good job from them getting the frags that were necessary. They're going to go back to this kitchen defense, and they're switching out and bringing the ace on attack, which is an interesting choice. So now they have 2 hard breach, but I don't know if there's much areas to really use this unless they want to take control of lobby and open up this back wall here by shelf area, as you call it.
Yeah, I don't really know if it's Kuma's role is going to be that necessary. I think Dizzy can just get the job done by his lonesome, but having those stun grenades can also be very helpful anyways. You can burn through a lot of the ADSs that Gent brings to the board, and also possibly just flash some of the opposition. And also the Type 89 is a pretty decent weapon, but I don't know if it's a necessity. You could have brought someone a lot more beneficial to your overall lineup, maybe a Sledge to help with the vertical. I should do a Sledge, never mind. I wasn't paying attention to that. That's my mistake, of course. I tend to make those quite a lot. Maybe someone else, like a Capitao, for example, that would have been a good pick, or also the IQ to find some of the Mute Jammers and or Mozzie Pests that can lead to those C4 kills occurring because of the gathered intel being brought on the board by Johnson and Wales. But again, like I also mentioned, Habana, not the worst thing to bring on the board. I just don't know how helpful it will be for CSU. That's the only problem that I have with it.
I like the mention of the IQ. I think that actually could have been very powerful here, especially since we've seen them playing in that defensive area of shelf a lot. If they had gone above, which they've been able to get control above, so I'm just kind of, if they do their due diligence here, they can at least push strict viral out of this position. So let's say they get top 4 control. That IQ can burn away those bandit charges as well, and then they can open up the wall into shelf. We are seeing some damage though. Coin flips getting taken out early yet again, opening kill, but there is refrags. Meow getting a double kill onto Playboy and Squall, and now the defenders have that man advantage, and they've taken out the Buck and the Zofia. So a lot of utility off the board for these attackers.
What a play by Meow, immediately refragging, then getting a positive because of that. One refrag, though, will come out by Let's Smoke in Bed, but immediately, Meow gonna clap back, finding 3 already into the round. This could be a highlight round for the lone bandit player roaming up above. He's now gonna reposition inside of Theater, and essentially Dizzy and its Kuma are just sitting ducks in the middle of VIP. We're gonna have Kuma possibly try to reposition her way in towards Hall of Fame, possibly, maybe trying to contest Meow. He's in a perfect spot, though, to find a 4th kill. The crouch spam comes back and forth, but in fact, Kuma will not contest it. C4 coming out, though. Will it land? It's not going to hit. In fact, Dizzy going to be able to see the light of day for a couple of more moments. But as that final minute now finally goes into play, that can force Meow to possibly reposition, allowing time to work on his side, as they do in fact still have the man advantage. And now that vertical blade cannot be performed by either 2 of these operators, they are really in a rock and a hard space on this 9th round.
Well, we could see the ace. They're probably feeling panicked right now, right? We see them moving together, and I understand, but the ace could have still opened up lines of sight below. That Jaeger was literally right below them when they were in pent, so I think that could have helped them at least open up, and then maybe that Jaeger would have to reposition away from bathroom. He is in shelf right now, so they do have free reign if entering, but they're going to have to contest with the Meow all the way at the backside. He's going to get the quad now. Can they get the ace here? One more kill necessary. Can they find the Sibana? They're going to engage, but they lose out. Unfortunate, not able to get the ace, but now it's all up to Kuma. He still needs to find 2 more if the attackers are going to win this round. Otherwise, Ado's move and Genten to Ted. They're going to have to clutch up here against this man. Just finish out the round. It is virtually yours for the taking. Only a couple seconds. It doesn't matter. And Ado is going to get that kill anyways, just to add to the stats. But that round is already done with the time. And that's going to be another round for JWU.
What a round by Meow. Almost single-handedly claiming that for Johnson and Wales. Just, they're just bulldozing through the opposition, essentially. And that's going to bring it now 6-3 match point in the favor of Johnson and Wales. Now we have CSU looking down that gun barrel of match point, and they're not in the best of positions here to possibly win this one out. They are bringing some wildcard picks here, almost seeing the Ying, but in fact, Dizzy will go for the Dokkaebi, and then Squall will pick off the Ying for Zofia. But I don't know right now currently, Wes. Johnson and Wales is looking very strong up against CSU. I don't know if we're going to have 3 consecutive round wins in the favor of the blue team, but I've been proven wrong before. I could definitely be proven wrong yet again.
I just wouldn't have swapped out the Zofia for it. You could probably afford to switch off of one of the other soft breaches. So you don't need both the sledge and the buck. They didn't utilize the buck before when they're on the second floor hold. They didn't utilize them by going below. So to have both of them seems actually kind of wasteful. There's definitely a better app to be brought. You don't need the buck. All they're bringing at this point is flashes, unless you are going to utilize them from below. Otherwise, you already have a sledge for the soft destruction. You don't need the buck too. So I would like to have seen them brought, like we mentioned, is really. I don't like this operator. Like I hate Blackbeard. I do. I think it's toxic to play him. Right? I just hate him. But
you're right.
He's useful. He's useful. Put him on that hookah window right there. Then he can just harass the players. Make them reposition. Anyone who wants to play around that bomb chesty in B right there behind the hookah bar, they're going to have a hard time contesting a Blackbeard, especially it's like upside down repelling, which is just the most toxic you can get. But it is useful. People do it for a reason. You see in Pro League, they do it all the time, and there's a reason for it. But if you're not going to do it, put the buck on that window. But I would just like to see them do a little bit different of a push than what we saw before. It just didn't look like they fully pushed the right way. This time we do see the adjustment that I wanted to see, though. They're bringing that Hibana instead of the Thermite. This time they can actually open up the back of A into that square area in the middle of the map so that they won't have Adoa playing in that same position this time. So he won't be able to see both lines of sight from the pushes they want to do.
Yeah, a little bit of a utility waste there by Hibana, narrowly missing that Xyros charge initially, but she doesn't have to really open up that much else, so it's not the end of the world. And allowing that back wall to be opened up by the Xyroses, that's going to force players like Coinflip to really be in an awkward position when it comes to trying to deny that default plant, especially inside of Billiards, because he can sit in the back of Minibar, throw his gas canister near that kind of half concrete wall. And that's going to go through the wall and actually deny the default plant from coming out. So that could really be advantageous for Johnson and Wales. But what isn't advantageous for them is CSU, again, finding this opening frag. One thing I got to give to the attacking team is how great they are at finding these opening frags. Even if they get refragged in the end, at least they start out very strong, and they've ended up strong a lot of other rounds as well. So I got to give it to them. This has been a very fair match, even though the scoreline could really deceive some people. We do have Squall pick up one, but Coinflip and Strict Viral following suit. Coinflip, though, going to get immediately taken down by Dizzy, bringing back the scoreline to CSU. It's just up to Strict Viral as he tries to find one through the rotational hole. He's now essentially stuck inside of Aqua. He'll try to find one onto Dizzy, but the the M14 is just far too strong when he's already on such little HP, and that's going to be a comeback round win again for CSU, now bringing things 6-4 match point, only having to win 2 more for a possible overtime scenario.
Yeah, this map, they've been on their back foot for a little bit in here, but in this case, they are trying to bring it back, trying to claw back into it. 4-6, they could find 2 more here, and if they can, then that's going to allow them to bring it to overtime. And then I don't know who would start in overtime, but if it is them, it'd be good for them. What was that? It's random in overtime. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. So we'll find out if it gets there. In this case, though, I think JWU is going to be trying to shut it down here. They're switching over, though, from that Maestro onto a Maestro. Never mind. I thought they were going to bring something different and surprises. But no, still bringing the Meatball Man himself, and I'm all right with that. I do think Maestro is very strong. Those cams will give you a lot of information. They make them waste utility to take care of them because they are bulletproof. So that just really useful. Having the Alda as well, one of the better guns in the game. So there's nothing negative you can say about bringing Maestro on almost any bomb site as well. He's very versatile. He has a lot of usefulness in virtually any map, any site. So I like to see him brought. The other ops they're bringing, I still can't find fault in. They're doing the things we talked about. They have that Mozzie mute combination. We know just how powerful that can be for all the drone denial and capturing even more cameras potentially with the Mozzie. And then we see the Wamai and Jaeger combination, and they have been bringing people. They've been bringing the Sledge with the grenades. They've been bringing Zofia with her concussive rounds. They've been bringing the Buck with the flash grenades. They do have smoke grenades on the Dokkaebi. So plenty of throwables in the hands of these attackers. So the Jaeger and Wamai definitely going to be vital. Now the thing was last round, Meow was killed early. With Wamai, you have to survive longer to get more discs to form over time. One of his gadget, is one of those where over time you get more and more, just like Legion. They just over time. Oh, I got another one. So if he can stay alive with the Wamai that could use that a little bit more. I think they did utilize flashes to push in last time. So that could be the difference maker here, slowing down this attack by having just more of that utility burn. But coin flip is still going to be taken out. The opening frag coming out again for CSU this round, and that's going to put them in the man advantage early on, not even a minute into this round.
CSU again picking up the pace. They went from that jogging start to now a full-fledged sprint, essentially, as they now already claim a good chunk of that first floor objective area, or not objective room, but vertical play now coming out as well. This is so far looking to be a very good opening round for CSU as they light up Strict Viral from underneath, now forcing him to play behind that half wall into Aqua. And so far, still pretty good for CSU. Even more vertical play being done as well. I think we might see a possible Cool Vibe stairwell push along with Luggage. I'm really interested to see that if that happens, especially since it's going to be a Dose move who's on the Maestro trying to deny that with the Alda. That could really benefit him in his 80 bullet LMG, as that's a very close gun engagement. And you can just shoot in right a straight line with that laser beam, and that could shut down a lot of the opposition. But we also have that back white stairwell being pushed up as well. Meow going to get a little bit too aggressive, though. Going to give away his position rather early. Now using up some more of his utility as well, trying to just stall for a little while longer. Now beginning to retreat in towards Penthouse. And there we go. There starts the Luggage push as well. Still looking pretty strong for CSU, like I've said before.
Yeah, I wouldn't count JWU out yet, though. They do have key positions, but Dizzy is going to get a Dose move, so that does favor the attackers even more so. They're in a 5v3. That is the Alda off the board. We were just talking about how powerful the Maestro is. Well, he's no longer going to be effective in this round. The best he can do is feed information with those cameras he's already placed down. He's going to rely on this Jaeger to hold down Cool Vibe, and he's not necessarily in the best position. Playboy getting a kill on the Meow as well. This is falling away for these defenders, and the messing of the shot. Not even able to see him. That's a flawless round coming out from the attack. They get all 5 men without losing anyone. Job well done. Now they have 5 rounds. They need one more to bring this to overtime.
Amazing comeback by CSU yet again, just keeping their foot on that gas pedal, not going to decelerate. They're just going to keep accelerating on through the highway of Johnson and Wales, and it's still match point favoring the defensive team, but it's one round away as well from it going into overtime. And if they are on defense still, this could end up being a comeback overall by CSU. We're going to have Kitchen Service now being defended, as Hookah Billiards was just not the proper move for Johnson and Wales at the moment. They really didn't seem to have that much success on that second floor objective room, but they're going to try to bring it back to the first floor instead, and have a pretty swell lineup to fit it as well. They have the Bandit possibly just to deny the shelf wall from being destructed open, Mute for some drone denial, and also intel gathering by a Dose move, and yeah, it's just what you typically tend to see on a site like Kitchen and Service. I mean, there really isn't anything wrong with these picks at all.
Yeah, nothing wrong. The Maestro being brought yet again. The Bandit's going to help him make sure that no one's going to come from lobby and just open up these hard walls that we see the Bandit reinforcing right now. And that's a key position for the defender, so it makes sense to bring that. You want that security. But you could also argue that those mute jammers could be used to do that. So I guess it depends on where they want to utilize the mute jammers. Now, we have seen them put it in the doorway leading from Kitchen over towards that hallway, towards the Sunrise bar area. So they might put one there. Might even have one on the window of Kitchen. They might have one on the service door, or they could utilize them upstairs if they're trying to roam up there, deny the information for those attackers, make them shoot out or destroy somehow these mute jammers that would protect their position. We see Vigil is playing with one above. The other reason they're bringing that, though, the mute jammer is a counter to the Dokubi phone call. So if they try and call them and you're in the vicinity of that mute jammer's range, then you will not be, the phone will not ring. Or if you run into the vicinity and your phone's ringing, it instantly stops. So the mute is a really good counter for that Dokubi.
That also works along with Lion's gadget. We may have not seen him, and that's rather unfortunate. I think Lion's a great pick for this map, but with his scanner, that could be countered as well by the mute jammers, and also Vigil, but he's going to use his gadget to counter this drone game currently, and Playboy getting injured from him, not too sure what, but I think it'll get immediately finished off here by Coinflip. He'll miss that second impact grenade, though, and oh no! He's going to look away at the wrong time, and he'll get finished off by Squall, and he has just enough time to get that revive off on a Playboy as well. So the man advantage, in fact, favoring CSU. What an inaccuracy there by Johnson and Wales as Coinflip gets shut down very early onto the round. That is not what you want to see.
Yeah, the game sense just not on point there. Not to be too critical of him, but he's turning and his body is still in the line of sight from that double door of Aqua Balcony, and just unfortunate timing that he's looking the wrong way as well. Just not the best positioning either, but that's something you can always look back and improve on, right? That's something that you'd be like, okay, watch out for a second person pushing. Like, that's a lesson that everyone goes through, especially if you're going to get to the higher tier playing. So I think that's very common to see something like that happen. That just comes with time. The game sense will come with time of playing. And this is also the first game of this season, so you can't be too critical. People are still trying to warm up here, trying to get into the right sync as well. I don't know how long these teams have been playing together, so that's the other thing to keep in mind. So a lot of things to be aware of for why things might not click exactly as well as they could. But in this case, a lot of time was killed. They only have 50 seconds to push. It's still a 4v5, but from above it looks like there is the verticality, and that's going to be Let's Smoke killing Gen10. That's the Jaeger off the board. Now they have a 5v3. These defenders, they're letting it slip away from them. If they can't win this round, it will go to overtime, so they're going to need to make something happen here.
A miracle play is going to have to come out, especially now in that 5-on-2. Soon to be 5-on-1 as Let's Smoke in bed is out for blood. It's just up to Strict, Viral, and Meow. But if it's any two players to clutch it out, it's got to be the Mutant Bandit as they both find kills of their own, making things somewhat even in this 3-on-2 now. 15 seconds on the clock as well. Meow trying to find another, but it's Kuma will shut down Strict, Viral. It's just a 1v3. Squall having the diffuser will attempt the plant, and Meow going to look away at just the wrong time. He's got to push out fully to try and get that plant in now, but he's not going to have enough time nor enough HP. It's Kuma will finally get the last frag of the round, eliminating Meow, and that's going to in fact be the overtime scenario coming out for CSU versus Johnson & Wales.
Yeah, down but not out. They're able to claw back those few rounds in a row. I think that's 3 in a row for them to bring this to overtime, so good job from them. We're going to see, though, that JWU has to play defense again. We saw that this has been an attacker-sided coastline, 4-2 on the attacker side, so doesn't favor them whatsoever. So they're going to go back up to Hookah and Billiards and try and repeat the first time they went up there. They did win on the back of a dose move, I believe it was, had that Legion, and he had the right lines of sight. But last time they went there, it did not work out so well. So we'll see what adjustments they're going to bring. They're going to switch off and onto the Bandit away from that Vigil. I think the Vigil is a more selfish op, doesn't really bring much utility to help your team. So these Bandit charges will at least help slow down the push, deny them opening this back wall if they place the Bandits on that back wall, which I think they probably will. Yep, you see them start putting them down. So that makes sense. The Mute Jammer also will not be required to keep that wall shut down from the hard breach, so they can place those in doorways as we see. The Aqua doorway, placing a Mute Jammer there. And so gives you more versatility of where you want to place gadgetry. And so I think this is already a better adjustment for them. The question will be, can they not just not lose that opening kill? Like, that's the thing. They've had the opening death, like, I think the last 3 rounds in a row, and they've lost every single one of those rounds. And we talked about how important that opening kill is for whatever side gets it, or how detrimental it is on the opposite side if you have the opening death. So either way you want to look at it, it's not good to have someone lost. And we've noticed they've had that opening kill pretty early in the rounds a lot of time, within the first minute many times. So you just got to survive a little bit more. You can always play off of time. The less time there is, the more it is your friend. That almost gives you a man advantage when it starts getting down to the dying seconds of a round for the defenders. So if they can just survive, play off of each other also a little bit more. We haven't seen them get the refrags as frequently as I would like. So I think they can definitely make the adjustments. It's just about the making it click, making it roll well together.
Yeah, even on the round where Meow ended up winning the round for them, essentially, for Johnson & Wales, CSU still had the opening frag, and that could have led them to winning another round, maybe not even having to worry about an overtime situation, but we are, in fact, going to head to overtime regardless. And again, CSU trying to find that early frag, lighting up Strict, Viral, bringing him down, but he'll clap back immediately. He'll find a Nitro Cell kill onto Playboy, finishing off the soft destructor of Buck. And that's going to get rid of a lot of possible opportunities here for CSU. We're still going to have the push being attempted by the attacking team of CSU, but a strong grip will be held by JWU until a refrag finally occurs. Squall just walking right up of Cool Vibe stairwells. He'll find a second now. The plant can in fact occur as well by CSU. And I might have to go eat my own words almost immediately, as this could be just a comeback win for CSU yet again. Another injure coming out. Dizzy finishing off Strict Viral. We will have one kill go across the waist, but a clap back by the player up on Skylight. It's just up to coin flip on the roaming bandit. Can he clutch this out? It's going to have to play up on the top of Cool Vibes. Almost getting killed by the player near Billards, but he finally will be. Dizzy going to find a second for himself. And now it's going to be 7-6 match point for CSU. Coming back from, I believe it to be, a 4-round disadvantage. Or actually maybe 3, but I don't recall. But still a disadvantage. Yeah, 3-round disadvantage, now 1-round advantage for map number 1. That is unimaginable. What a comeback by them.
I want to give credit and also criticize a little bit. That's what I do here, right? I just analyze things. So I'm the bad guy in the situation. So everyone can hate on me for just being a hater here, but that's fine. Again, just trying to be educational. I mean, I'm a teacher, so that's what I do. I'm used to it at this point. So what I want to break down, though, is no one has lines of sight into hookah, it seemed like. The only person who did was just casually peeking from the vase area. That's just not enough. You also didn't bring the Maestro, so you don't have any cams in that bomb site. So that's just kind of a blunder on the defense to let that go. They also didn't have a rotate over from the billiards wall area. So if someone was playing billiards, they could have helped peek, having been in that room and able to have a line of sight over into hookah. But just not peeking enough, maybe? I don't know, but the Legion was supposed to have that on lockdown by themselves, which I think is also a lot to ask from one player. They have to contest with the window as well as the doorway, so it's really dangerous for them to be left alone, no support for them. So they're only going to be peeking, trying to play it safe. And what happens? Squall is able to just walk into the site and then walk up to the rotate that they had created and just get the kill off of it. And he gets double kill because the Jaeger isn't able to react. So again, not trying to be too critical here, but that's just a little bit of a lapse from what I'm seeing. But really smart. I'm assuming the drone work was good, that they recognized no one's watching this guy, so we can just walk into hookah. Bam, they do it. They execute it well. So while I am giving a little criticism, you have to give to the props to CSU for even recognizing that was so open for them to take, and they just jumped on it. And I like to see no hesitation like that.
Yeah, Johnson & Wales allowing that Cool Vibe stairwells to be basically free real estate for CSU was not the proper move there, and that forced them to gain a really quick and easy access into hookah, and then allowing that plant to go down. And after that, basically, it was just the final nail in the coffin for the defending team of Johnson & Wales. But now we're going to have them back on the offense. And if you know anything about Coastline, this is, again, the most attacker-favorited map in all of Rainbow Six by a long shot. Already, though, we are going to have some damage being done again by CSU, trying to light up Meow, but only going to bring him down to about 65 HP, so it's just a minor trip up, but again, Meow will just get right back up and continue his little walk, I suppose, and it's still a very slow, methodical opening round by both of these teams. A minute 40 just about to pass, and finally, the opening kill comes out by Let's Smoke in Bed. Almost another kill coming out as well on the side of CSU as Gent and Ted will get lit up as well, now being brought down to about 45 HP. But the push coming in from VIP will begin to happen as both Gent and a Dose Move are working their way into that spiral couch room, trying to get open a sight line possibly in towards hookah. Coin Flip going to take some damage as well. And it's still that 5-on-4, but a refrag could definitely happen in just a matter of moments here.
I like the shield that we're seeing. You saw it through the wall of VIP into billiards. They have a shield there, so they're holding up top really well. They're not going to let these attackers just move in and get to the stairways at all. Yeah, you can have above kitchen, excuse me. You can have that theater pent, but you're not going to be able to push near the hallway of VIP. You're not going to get top of white, not without a fight. So I like to see the early aggression. Just don't give up the map control. But the question here will be the engagement that we're about to see. And it is Let's Smoke in the favor, coming out, getting the kill. That's a double kill. Dizzy going to follow it up onto coin flips. And this is looking a lot like a defender win. And the map going to CSU. And it will be on a flawless round. That's Playboy shutting it down. 8-6. CSU with the massive comeback, able to get the 2 overtime rounds that they needed in a row. So now we're going to have to move on to map 2. but well done to them taking map 1 in overtime like that after clawing their way back as well.
Wow. I am completely speechless. What a comeback by CSU. You gotta give it to them, man. They kept winning their ones early into allowing that opening frag to work for them rather than against them. That was beautiful work by them, but I'm not going to just give them all the spotlight. We also had some great plays by Johnson and Wales University. They had Meow with that quadra kill, almost the ace. I mean, we just saw a lot of spectacular performances by both teams, and we're going to get right into map number 2 on Oregon very soon, but I don't know if we're going to go into a break first or if we can actually do a quick little sponsorship. Either one, I think, will not matter.
I think we should probably just go to a small break. We do sponsorship when we get back. We just have to discuss a few things and everything else. So we'll be right back with you.
Okay, and welcome back everyone to NECC Esports channel. We're going to get the second match of Oregon started up momentarily. Just having some player issues at the moment, but we're going to do a quick little sponsor run around yet again just to get the last two over and done with. But first and foremost, Helix Esports. Want to thank you so much. Helix Esports offers world-class gaming and virtual reality experiences at state-of-the-art esports centers throughout the United States. Helix Esports delivers a professional esports experience to everyone, and Helix Esports fosters schools, college, and beyond. And whether gamers choose to play, practice, and socialize with friends or compete at the highest level, Helix Esports is the premier destination for gamers. Make sure you go follow Helix Esports today at Helix Esports or at Helix Esports USA. Yep, had it right the first time. Don't know why I repeated it.
Just for good measure, just in case, other people.
In case they didn't hear me, there you go. What would I do without you, Wes?
I don't know. Cry.
You're right. Yeah.
Next ad here, our last one, our friends over at ESTV. ESTV is the first ever dedicated channel for esports and gaming personalities. ESTV was launched to meet a demand for around-the-clock coverage of esports athletes and gaming franchises from an insider perspective. ESTV can be found on a number of OTT platforms and local channels, including the Roku TV channel, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung TV Plus, Sling TV, and Vizio FreeWatch. ESTV partners with the world's top gaming networks and production partners for the most robust esports content lineup on linear, online, and mobile. For more information, please visit www.estv.co. So that is our ads for today. Just to run them through again, just name them off. We have Meta, which is metaprogaming.gg. We have Respawn, and they don't have a website. I'm looking at it now. Oh, it's just respawnproducts.com. All right. Doesn't say that there. So good to know. HyperX, of course, that you can check out their website, but you can find their products everywhere, right? So HyperX, talked about them. I have the headset myself, so really like their products. Helix Esports, we just said follow them. That's probably on Twitter, I imagine, at Helix Esports USA. And then ESTV, I just mentioned, www.estv.co. Those are the sponsors. We thank them for the support, financial support, and other things as well. So we appreciate that. Let's recap what we just saw, fellow. Let's talk a little bit about the matchup we just saw in Coastline.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to. So these two teams of both California State University, Dominguez Hills, and also Johnson & Wales University, they went up against one another on probably the most aggressive map on Coastline. And at the very beginning, we had Johnson & Wales with a pretty convincing lead. It ended up being 5-2 at one instance. And then miraculously, CSU just brought it back fantastically, ending up the game 8-6 match point overtime. Very impressive work by them. That's going to give them the first map lead. And now we're heading to Oregon, a completely different map compared to Coastline. It's a lot more defender favorited. Much more methodical thinking goes into a map like this. It's much bigger. You have to clear out a lot more different type of roaming positions, get open much more walls to get proper sight lines. It's a lot of food on someone's plate to handle in certain instances. So I don't know if that's going to really be a nuisance for either two of these teams, but we're going to have to wait and see for that to turn out, possibly.
And we talked about how that last map is more frag heavy. This map is the most defender-sided map, besides possibly Theme Park, I would argue, in the matchup. So very, very much different, as you mentioned, completely polar opposites, in fact. So this map, more so on the strat side. Of course, this is Siege, so gun skills still matter, but when it comes down to execution, you can't just walk into sight like we saw on the hookah defense. Let's go back to that for a moment. That kind of thing is a lot harder to do here. The defense has a lot better positioning, I would argue.
9
that makes
rehosts later.
sense when we mentioned Coastline's attacker sided, so they have those lines of sight. Those defenders have to be very
which team is defending?
We saw.
I think we're defending
last
first.
couple rounds in overtime. The big difference between the attacks, where we saw CSU win, 2 kills came from on top of the roof.
Let me look at the map then.
Into
I'll
the
double check
hallways
that.
towards base is a very dangerous place to play if you're not careful with those lines of sight from the roof. That's not something you'll see here. You can't really get kills inside of onto people inside the map when you're outside, they don't have that kind of luxury necessarily unless someone's trying to peek. But we do have everyone in the lobby, so I think we actually should be able to jump into this map of Oregon real quick. It will be CSU starting on defense, so that actually favors them a bit too, since this is a defender-sided map. The other thing to keep in mind, though, I want to point out on the last map, and I don't know how much this will affect this matchup on this map, but if we look at the kills, CSU, I looked at their kills. I didn't see, player specific what their stats were, but I did notice their lowest kill count was 6. Their highest was 9. That just shows how consistent all the players were. They were all able to get frags, all able to contribute. And on the other side, we saw there was someone with 9, and then other people, I saw a 2 and a 3, which on a frag heavy map, you do need people to step up and try and frag out more than you might expect. On a map like this, I think you can get away with some people not having the same kind of kill counts simply because you can win on time more easily when your defenders here. You can get those opening kills and leave those attackers befuddled. But I guess we'll see if that's going to be the case as we are jumping into the matchup right now. Starting on Oregon, CSU on defense, so they're going to have that first ban. I think we're going to see more traditional. So my personal take, a Thatcher for sure. Maybe a Maverick if they want to double up. What are you thinking?
I agree with you on the Thatcher. Maybe not so much the Maverick, but it's a possibility. Maybe just a hard breacher instead. Maybe the Ace or a Thermite possibly. I mean, heck, they could even go for a Habana if anything, but it's going to be mostly up to them. The Thatcher will be a definite regardless, though. We also might actually see a Wamai ban come out. He's banned quite a hefty amount on a map like Oregon, and if we know one thing about CSU and also Johnson and Wales, they both love to bring the Wamai. He was used quite a lot on Coastline, so it wouldn't be that surprising if he gets taken off the board as well. But that first ban coming out is actually the Jackal, then followed up by Thatcher. So far, pretty familiar bans what we saw in the first map. But I think we will see somewhat of a variation in the meantime, or in a moment or two.
Yeah, I think that the Jackal, just to highlight it, they banned it on the last map. Both these teams had decent roam games. They really like to play off site. They at least have 1 or 2 people not on that primary bomb site area. And so banning out the Jackal, again, we've talked about in the last matchup, it allows you to have those roamers. Though the first ban here on defense will actually be Cade. Now, Cade is very powerful in every map, pretty much, that you need that hard breach denial. He allows you to put those claws in very tricky positions. Without him on the board, you know that the denial has to all be on the floor, whether it's the bandit or a mute jammer, all of them have to be on the floor. So it makes it a lot easier to get the walls opened up, knowing where those denials will be versus the claw. The last one, though, that Malusi, what do you make of that?
Makes a lot of sense. Her gadget, incredibly annoying to deal with. And especially when defending the blue bunker area, having those Malusis off the board will make it much easier. You only have to deal with pretty much just some barbed wire, an ADS here and there, and also a deployable shield. But adding the Malusis to the mix, it flips the entire attacking side in a blue bunker completely on its face, and that could really benefit the defenders of SCU, or actually it'd be CSU. I always keep mixing them up. I don't know why I keep thinking of it the other way around. It just seems so natural, but it's CSU, California State University. I'm going to try to nail that into my own head that way I don't keep making the same mistakes over and over again. But that's a very big mistake to start things off strong. Playboy going to now be brought down to about 50 HP, just under that. And Let's Smoke in Bed also going to take a pretty hefty blow, now being to about 80 to 85 health. That's a little awkward. If I
trying to remember last matchup, one of these teams did the same thing.
I believe.
What was it? The same? I was trying to remember which team it was, and I guess it's them doing it yet again. A thing to notice here. For one, Mira is actually really powerful on this map, so for her to be free, I like the fact that they're bringing her. But the one thing that is a little baffling potentially with this Vigil on the board, you've sacrificed the idea of hard breach denial. And we did see them switch off of the Maverick onto the Hibana. The reason being, Cade's not on the board. They look like they're doing a defensive hold. They looked at those ops, and that's what they decided, it seems like. That's the main reason you bring a Hibana, to get the hatches. And then on top of it, they have the Ace. They don't have hard breach, I just mentioned, right? Or they don't have hard breach denial, on the defense. They didn't bring any electronics. They didn't bring a mute. So nothing to deny them from getting the hatch open, which was already an impossibility because Cade's banned. But even more so, if they try and take out those mirrors, let's say, by throwing an ace charge on it, they can. There's nothing to stop that from happening. So the mirrors might not be as useful unless they're holding lines of sight to shoot the hard breach off of it, because that's the only way they're going to stop it.
Yeah, and they could immediately counteract that just by going up above, especially since there is no Kaid. You have the Queen of Hatches herself, coin flips on the Hibana. She can just shoot 4 pellets right onto it and just break that mirror window, which allows a magnificent sight line leading in towards blue bunker. And if that gets opened up by the attackers, that's going to force the Wamai to just fall immediately back. That's going to give Playboy a lot less room to work with, but so far it doesn't really look to be a blue bunker sided push, or at least CSU is taking their sweet time. It's going to be a top-down roam clear first and foremost by Johnson and Wales. And then they might begin to work their way towards Pillar and also Blue Bunker instead. They just wanted to make sure there was no very aggressive roam game, which was a very prominent figure on the last map on Coastline. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me that they want to go for that roam clear first, but that's going to chunk up a lot of time that they could have used to instead get control in the Blue Bunker, which could really bite them in the behind later on once we go past that first minute, or that last minute, I should say.
Looking at the defense, the hatches opened up. I don't think that was hard reinforced. So I think that Zofia was able to just open it up there. We do see all the defenders are down below. There's no roam game happening. So these attackers, while they did take some time to clear above, they now have free reign. They're going to be able to move in wherever they want. The defenders are just going to have to play off of certain angles. We do see Let's Smoke It in bed. He's taking a lot of damage there. He's down to about half HP, just like Playboy. So each one of them on a very sliver of HP in this game, because only a couple bullets will do that damage. And there it is. Coinflip getting a kill, and Meow killing Playboy. Both of the people who were damaged, I just mentioned, both killed instantly there. A dose move also getting a kill, and it's Kuma. So that is going to be a 4v2 for these attackers, getting those kills that they need. They're also even getting that plant down. They are in the laundry area, and they're going to get this plant down. It looks like there's no way of denying it. These defenders trying to push up, but Coinflip's going to take out Dizzy, and a dose move finishing up. Let's Smoke in bed is also off the board. That's all the defenders done in quick succession. These attackers, knowing exactly how they wanted to do it, they got the right positioning. As I mentioned, those roamers not being on the board, that they had so much time to play with as the attackers. They're just able to push with as much time as they wanted.
It was just about 30 seconds on the clock when the first kill finally came out. I thought that was going to be a win by CSU, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, but miraculously, we had Johnson and Wales come out on top. That was a very impressive round win by them, and the more round wins you can get on the attacking side of Oregon in the first half, the better off you will be. So it is very nice to see that they have a prominent start on the second map, similar to what they had onto Coastline, but let's just hope that they don't throw it all away after this first half is over. I believe we're now going to see the upper floor be defended. I couldn't quite catch it off.
They're going right back. Yeah,
they went right back. Okay, I couldn't quite tell. Thank you, Wes.
Oh, no problem. I am wondering about that, though. We do know that the Cade's banned. That means the hatches are pretty much free to open up if they want to use the Hibana on them. So knowing that, I think top floor is a better defense. And I think most teams go to top floor anyway as their first choice. So this isn't to say that bottom floor isn't a good defense. It clearly is. This is a really good map for defense. But I think that top floor is more powerful. And to top it off with, again, the Cade not being on the board, they can open up the hatches. They can get certain lines of sight. And if you're not going to play in freezer heavily to try and deny the push there, or at least the lines of sight that they're able to get from there, you need someone playing on that Mira. If you don't, they can push in, have a line of sight holding the rotate, and then if they get inside of that laundry room area, they could potentially get the plant, is what we just saw happen. And so I think it's just a lack of commitment to that side. They weren't denying the push heavily enough, and they lost the frags. And that just goes down to the gunfights, so can't necessarily knock their strategy. But I also am wary when you have hatches available to just be opened up by Hibana. They can just flash. They brought the Capital so they can fire arrow your position. No, you do have the Wamai disc to catch those out, but it all depends on where those are placed as well. And if the Wamai dies early, which I think he did last time, he was the first kill, I think, for the attackers, then no more discs on the board.
Yeah, if you get someone who has so much active utility like the Smoke or the Wamai killed off early into the round, that's going to benefit the attacking team by a lot. They can use more of their own utility to try to help either get them more frags secured or get the plant down, like you mentioned. And already, Squall's going to take a hefty amount of damage against Johnson and Wales, but he will in fact be able to retreat now into the bottom area near Freezer. That's going to force him to come back into sight, allowing a much heavier anchor setup, which will benefit them once we head towards that last minute of the round. But the roam clear still coming out on the side of Johnson and Wales. They're wasting a lot of time in this process, but on the bright side, at least they were able to still have that last round work out for them. But the question is, can they be exactly the same amount of successfulness as they were earlier? That was a horrible little sentence right there. I don't know what I tried doing there at the end, but it happens to the best of us.
We just do the Hibana rotate. They open that hatch, so Hibana's going to be able to open the hatch right below the attic hatch. Those are right in a row, basically, one on top of the other. So easy line of sight. You mentioned she only has to use 4 of those pellets. And with the Hibana change that we saw recently, it used to only be 6. Now she can do it in 2s, 2, 4, or 6 at a time. Only use 4. It just allows you to open up every single hatch, and she'll still have some hard destruction left over. So Hibana, really good operator bring, especially with the Cade band. And so we're seeing that. We are seeing them bring the Nomads. So that's interesting. I'm curious to know where they're going to place these air jabs. There's someone in that corner, but the ADS is going to catch the air jab that they just shot. They can't open up the mirror from this position, which is why I was concerned about them putting a mirror there. And right there, it goes to show it's not going to be well utilized. Sophia is also going to be playing on the other side of that mirror in bunker. So we'll see if they're able to push in.
Oh, very dangerous game of cat and mouse there by Mira, but somehow she'll make it out of that supply corner there, making her able to possibly come back later into the round, maybe go for a possible C4 toss. Actually, no, she cannot. She already used up her nitro cell later into the round, but it's going to be a complete rush into sight. We're going to have a dose move find 2, but at the exact same time, CSU will find 2 of their own. Now a third for Ace. He could possibly just ace this entire roundup as he could just wide swing onto Smoke. Playboy completely unaware. He'll find himself another one. Can he get the ace? He will not. But it's a massive quadra kill by the dose move as Strict Viral will pick up the last frag of the round. And again, another round win by Johnson and Wales as they take this lead 2-0 going into round number 3. Very impressive work by them so far.
The almost the ace, man, but his teammate just had to get that last kill, didn't he? Couldn't let the ace get the ace. I mean, ace getting an ace, like, that's just poetic. You can't take that away from him. What are you doing? Strict Viral. Come on, man. I don't know. I was trying to sound disappointed, but I just couldn't put my heart into it because I understand, you know, you want kills. You don't want your stat line to look bad. Your buddy, you know, if you're good friends, you like to mess with your friends sometimes. So, you know, you didn't get the ace, you know, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But either way, they're going to be able to get a second round in attack. And on a map like this, that's very surprising. They're going to go for a defense above now, I believe. So they're going to decide that isn't our best bomb site. Let's go for that top floor defense. And I think it's the right move. This is definitely more favored, especially with that Cade being banned. You're going to have to rely on different sites than usual. I think that basement hold we saw, yeah, you have the mirror, but we're going to put those mirrors. With the hatch available, you're very strict with where you can place those. Maybe you could put one in closet looking towards the laundry door. Maybe you can put one, as we saw, looking towards freezer. But you can't have it where they had it before. We saw the hatch could open up, easy line of sight, open up the mirror. That mirror then is also a line of sight from the person in bunker all the way to the person on the pillar. So it actually can be an attacker line of sight, being able to open it up like that. So I just don't think that's the play. They are going to go up here, and they have the right rotates that you'd expect. The one in between attic and the kids' dorm there. We also see the bandit playing near that wall. I wonder if he's going to bandit trick. They have a mute jammer on the wall into the closet of bedroom there by the bandit. But if that gets destroyed, he could easily jump over and just bandit, put his bandits on that wall. So I'd be curious to see if that's the game plan. He has not put any of his bandits down, though. So interesting to see they're opting to use the mute for that instead of just putting down at least some of those bandits, like go put it on the attic wall, for example. But they're not doing that. He has all of them in his pocket.
I think the only problem with the bandit trick being an idea is the fact that both of the floors near the hard walls are just soft destructible. So players like Meow can just immediately pick up a free frag onto Let's Smoke in bed. That's going to give them the man advantage and also deny one of CSU's main strategies when trying to defend this site. I don't think Bandit's really going for much of a bandit trick, though, as he's just holding down the top of white the current moment. He could obviously just reposition back to the main wall in a given moment and just then try to bandit trick, but I don't know if that's really his overall goal. Maybe he just wanted to use bandit for his MP7. I don't entirely blame him for that. It's a great gun, but there are definitely many other options. One flaw I can kind of decide to pick out here is also the fact there isn't really that many deployable shields, so that's going to force a lot of different positions to be held by CSU and some others to not really be taken advantage of either. So Playboy's just stuck behind the half wall, and if he gets flushed out from there, this could be a very quick third round win for Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, normally you'd see a shield on the doorway here of attic near Playboy. If you went outside that door, which was left, you'd have a shield there immediately sometimes just to be able to look over towards that trophy area and try and aggress on players. And we see why, because now they're able to get that wall open without anyone aggressing on them. And that wall is actually soft on the right side of it. So they only had one side reinforced, it looks like, which is a very interesting decision. But now there's a line of sight, and they're going to be able to easily move into attic, knowing that these players can't really defend it. And we're going to see Playboy also get taken out, and that's just a lack of utility able to protect him. But it's Kuma is going to get a refrag onto Meow, so they do have an even man count. And there has been a lot of time, but the plant can go down because the ace actually made it into games. He's sitting there by the foosball table, able to get this plant down. Now it's a post-plant situation 4v4. This really just swinged into the attacker's favor. They already had the control of attic, but I didn't realize they were already in getting that plant down. This is looking like a lot to do for these defenders.
Absolutely no awareness there by CSU, and now they're essentially the attackers having to reclaim that one site as both It's Kuma and Let's Smoke in Bed trying to contest the player in attic. Smoke will find one, but Dizzy gonna meet his maker by to a dose smooth. Now a 3-on-3, and the plant just cannot be defused. A dose smooth finding another, and now Strict Viral gonna follow suit, but he'll end up getting taken down by Squall. It's just a 1v2, but Squall can't find another to make it that 1v1. Gent and Ted gonna shut him down. And that's gonna be a third round win in a row for Johnson and Wales, seeming unstoppable on this attacking side of Oregon right now.
We're talking about how this is a defender-sided map, but I don't know, man. What I will say though is I don't want to be too critical here, but these defensive holds are just different than what I'm used to seeing. That's what I'll say. The lack of shields, like you mentioned, like they brought Goyle last map. I remember seeing Goyle brought at least one time down in the kitchen hold. That's a really good op. He's not banned. You get 2 free shields. You can blow up those shields. Oops, that's an alarm. I gotta turn that off. All right.
Happens.
So that happens, right? I had to move my car. It's winter. I can get a ticket for not moving. Come on, adult things, guys. Give me a break. But looking at it, those shields could really burn time, like literally with the fire. Burn time. You get the fun. Yeah, but just the shields in general, you mentioned it. I think they're not utilizing it whatsoever. And then they're doing the basement hold again, and they have no hard breach denial. They could help deny hard breach, at least on the walls. They could hold elbow better if they're going to retreat from elbow. They could also hold freezer better by having the bandits in case they want to try and open up that wall, especially if they have the mirror looking into freezer again. The attackers just have to throw an ace on that if there's nothing denying it, right? Because then that wall's free.
Yeah.
So these mirrors become a lot less useful if you're not going to have something to deny the hard breach on them. Because if you get a hard breach on a mirror, the mirror is done. That's just what it is. So, and then they're doing the mirror in the same place again with the hatch above it. And again, no kid on the board. That hatch is going to get opened up unless you're going to like do a hard peek. But they actually didn't bring the Hibana for some reason. I think they thought they're maybe going to go upstairs again. But they can still use the Maverick to open it up. That floor is not destructible, so they can't see for him while he's getting that hatch above the mirror that we saw there.
Completely true. And yeah, back onto just the overall team comp, but what a shot by Squall. That's going to be Nomad down for the count. So much active utility just immediately down the drain. But back into the discussion here of overall team composition, it is really odd to see that there's no Goyo being brought on the board or really that much of a time-wasting operators at all, other than possibly the Smoke, for example, as this is probably the most 20-second meta-based map you can go on, and bringing those operators that are just utility-based and they waste so much time, it just happens so much. and so often in Oregon. I'm surprised that we're not seeing it as frequently at the current moment. Maybe that's why Johnson and Wales is having so much success on this offensive take, even when they are using up a lot of time on these very, very long and straining roam clears on the very top floors, which you don't oftenly see the top floor roam on the basement. Maybe the first floor and kitchen, for example, to deny a short tower or a freezer-sided push, but that's really it. It is a little bit odd to go on the very top floor for the roam clear, and already it's a minute 20 on the clock, and not much ground has really been covered here by Johnson and Wales, other than, like I said, on the very top floor.
Yeah, they got to put it into gear here. They're wasting their own time at this point. I know Squall makes them second guess because he got that kill early. They're like, where is he? Where is he? But you still have to just go for the execute. And it looks like they are getting that hatch I mentioned. They can't C4 this man. This Maverick is free to get this hatch unless someone's going to try and shoot him or throw a C4 on the holes that he's making with his torch. But overall, this hatch should be opened up pretty easily. They can get that mirror as well. So that's why I said that mirror is pretty much useless to have there, because they're going to be able to shoot it. And the other thing that could happen here is if they burn out the ADSs or the Wamidis, they could use these grenades, but the Maverick's just going to use them. You might get the person on pillar. At least he's going to push them back. The other thing I was going to mention, though, yeah, they have the ADSs and they have the Wamais, but they're usually used to protect something. And it's not people normally. It's usually like use it to help protect the Maestro, or use it to help protect these shields. Coin flip, though, is going to get a kill on the Dizzy, so they bring it back to the even man count. There's only 20 seconds to get this execute, so that long roam hurt them, but they are getting some kills here. Meow with a double kill on the Playboy and Squall, and that's going to put them in the man advantage, but they still are losing on time, and now they're going to bring it back on the defensive side of things, getting a double kill themselves, and we're going to see Meow get a triple on the round. He's going to get the quad, and he does!
Meow, you absolute madman, just shredding through the opposition. What a play by him, just taking care of every adversary. The quadra kill comes out for the second time now by Meow. That's going to bring Johnson and Wales 4-0 on the attacking side of Oregon. What is going on right now? What are we witnessing, Wes?
Okay, I'm just going to rehash again. Not try to be too critical, but had they had shields, you can hold angles. You can protect pillar better for one. They're giving up pillar really easily. If someone's playing by pillar and they have a shield, they can really watch that hallway and they can watch big tower stairs, and they don't have to be super afraid. You're also bringing the Wamai and the Jaeger. I mentioned it. Why are you bringing them if there's no shields to protect? If there's no evil eyes that you're trying to protect? It's only going to help you not get grenaded, and they're not even bringing that much utility for it because they're just able to just walk into sight. So I have to question a little bit of these defensive holds. Where are they looking? What are they doing without bringing these shields? Again, no shield being brought another time, and you can sometimes get away with it, but we're seeing that these attackers, they're going to clear and they're just going to push, and you guys seem to be losing the gunfights, so give yourself an advantage. That's why the mirrors are useful, right? Oh, I can see you before you see me. So I have the advantage. I can peek you around the shield or around the mirror. Well, that's what the shield would do as well. That's why I'm a huge fan of them. In this case, they're just peeking and just hoping that they're going to get the kill. And in this case, it's not working out. They're losing their gunfights overall. Now, Meow did put that round on his back, so I don't want to take away. That was a really good play from them. The defenders still got kills and brought it back to an even man count as 2-2. In the dying seconds. But then what happens again? Where are you looking? They weren't looking back at the other bomb site.
Wes, I want to point out there's no extension into showers. That's really interesting to see. The one key factor of going into dining and kitchen is that you can extend into showers with a Maestro, a Goyo, and a Jaeger, for example, and just hold down the line against the small tower push, and that wastes so much time against Johnson and Wales. But they're not even going for it. They're going for a deep roam and only having about, I believe, 2 anchors, not even possibly, in the middle of sight, and that's it. It's going to be currently Dizzy and also Legion, and Meow picking up one onto its Kuma. What is this 5th round currently going on at the moment? This is the most obtuse defensive hold I've seen so far by CSU, but luckily they'll pick up one using their mechanical skill to their advantage, shutting down Gent yet again. That's a lot of active utility down the drain, but once that roam gets cleared out from the 2nd floor, this might be a very winnable round for Johnson and Wales for the 5th time in a row.
If they do their drone work here and they realize where's the bomb site, if they would just rotate over to small tower right now, all 4 of them, let's open up the walls. Let's just rush through, get control of showers. They could just have complete control of that dining hall. They could get the plant down, and then the defenders would have to try and funnel their way in because there's no stairs on that side as well. We've talked about this in another stream before. There's no stairs to rotate up to that west side of the map. So having a bomb site over there allows you very little maneuverability of trying to retake the site. So if you're giving up showers, as you had mentioned here, right in the bottom, the southwest part of the map where showers is, if they get control of that room, they could just have control of the bomb site of A, and that would be an easy thing for them. But this is also what we're seeing for the attack, a little bit of a blunder on their side of things. Now, they could still make this work, but they're attacking where the defenders are actually playing. Had they attacked the other side, and that's a kill coming out onto the ace, and that's going to be Dizzy getting the kill onto a Dolos move. Now, this is what I'm talking about. These attackers are hardcore holding this side. If you go to the west side, they're not over there. There's no hold for them. They don't have showers. You're basically given dining for free. Now, we do see Legion has actually rotated, so he might be in the shower corridor, but that's still only 1 player. So they could potentially have taken that. But they're going to get a kill onto Dizzy. Where was that at? Oh, there's the kitchen doorway. Okay, so they're still winning some gunfights here. The attackers still have a chance, but they're going to have to be very careful. Plant has to come down, though.
What?
Oh, wow. That okay, Squall, and let's about getting kills, and Meow's the last one alive. I'm just like kind of shocked on how that whole round played out. For one, the defenders are playing odd. They're letting showers given up, but then the attackers didn't even take advantage of it. They just pushed where the defenders were, and they gave the defenders everything then. Because what happens? You're pushing. They're ready for you. They have different lines. If you're pushing that east side of the map, they can come up the big tower stairs and flank you. They can come up the laundry stairs and flank you in meeting. We saw bodies in meeting, and what happened at the end? Different lines of sight. They shot them from security. They shot them from the doorway of meeting. It fell apart for the attackers, and it's really because they just didn't choose the right side to push there. So good job from the defenders. Having the attackers play into their hands did work out, but I don't think that was a good push, to be fair, either. So each team having some good things coming out. We did see some frags come out on each side, so they're showing their gun skills. But on the strategic point of the game, I am a little baffled. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm a little baffled.
Another thing, there's no main denial for the walls in kitchen and meeting, and that's one of the more important factors of going this site is that back meeting wall. Once that gets opened up, the plant can definitely go down, and it gives Johnson and Wales a lot more sightline to work with. That also goes for the back kitchen area on top of that. So again, really odd picks coming out by CSU, but it worked for them the first time when they ended up going dining. So I could definitely see it working out again if Johnson and Wales just misreads the situation for another instance, which could definitely happen. But at the current moment, a lot of the side on Johnson and Wales they're both pretty stacked up at the current moment. They might just try to clear out big tower as soon as possible. Maybe go for that deep roam clear on the second floor again, which could possibly pick them up a couple of early frags, allowing them to do some vertical play and then forcing out more players on the side of CSU. And that could end up giving them that 5-1 split that would really benefit them after the first half is over and done with.
Some point out it's Kuma up here on the roam, and this is actually one of the most pivotal positions he can be in. If they give up this attic control, they allow the hatch to get opened up, and these attackers have full control above. That means meeting, if they can get that wall open, which, as you pointed out, they haven't been bringing that hard breach denial. There is no electricity on the walls. They can just open these walls up. So if they can get that wall opened up in the meeting, and they have vertical control with that hatch, they could just plant in the backstage area of meeting and just play post plant from there. So these defenders have to be very careful. The only one denying that kind of push is the man right here, and he's going to get shut down. And so that's going to give the control here to Meow and his team. He almost gets a second one, but isn't quite able to land that headshot. We'll see if he's going to open up the wall here. Not sure that that's the play. You're giving a line to set the defenders now, a new one. But they're not playing here. He's going to see the man, but not in time, and he's going to get refragged. So not the move to push. Let's Smoke in bed, gets the kill there. It's an even man count. But these attackers do have control above and attic. So if they could rotate the ace down below, open up that meeting wall and get the plant now because they do have that vertical control. The grenade, what a nice nade coming out from the Maverick of coin flips. He's going to get the kill onto the man, Smoke up there, playing that position. They knew he had just gotten a kill from there, so they knew he was still playing there. Really good heads-up play, getting the kill. Now they have the man advantage. They do have this vertical control, as I mentioned. Now I'd like to see them rotate over in Big Tower, open up that wall in the meeting, and get the plant down here off to the north side of meeting.
Not much more time left to work with here for Johnson and Wales, but they've been in worser situations with about 20 seconds on the clock. So far, this is not over just yet. They do almost have full control of the meeting site, only having one player that's going to be Dizzy, who's in the way back near split doorway. They could possibly just work their way in, but Dizzy is going to land his shots along with Squall, now making things a 3-on-2, favoring CSU yet again. It's just up to Strict Viral and Gent on the Ash and Nomad. We do have Ash up above, still trying to find some kills on possibly one of the hard roamers, but he's just not able to find anything at the current moment. I don't think they're going to have enough time to get this plant down unless Jen could possibly be covered. Dizzy, though, finding his second kill. Can he get the third? He'll get lit up from just behind by, I believe, a breaching round of some sort. The hop comes down yet again through the hatch, and Dizzy's just there at the perfect place and the perfect time to strike yet again. It's a triple kill for Dizzy and a 4-2 split, favoring Johnson and Wales going in around number 7 as the sides finally switch.
Man, I'm just kind of disappointed because the defenders only had one person there playing in the back of sight. There's a few things they could have done. They could have droned more. They had time, but they're just overly aggressing and pushing on areas they don't need to push on the attack. They could have rotated, as I said. The ace was alive. He could have rotated down, opened up that meeting wall in the back. There's a table that protects you in the back. So even if the Jaeger's trying to shoot at them, they could sneak in, get behind that table, and plant there on the stage. That's still part of the bomb site. They don't do that. They opt to drop through a hatch, which is, quite frankly, never really a good idea to just hot drop. But they were forced on time, and the first person to drop and die, I believe, was that ace. So as soon as he drops and dies, they lose the hard breach capability. Everyone else has to just funnel through the doorways or that hatch, and then it's an easy win for those defenders. So all coming on the mistake, I think, of the ace there, not opening up the wall of meeting when they could have. We already saw the Maverick actually rotated. There was a hole in the wall upstairs in attic. So they were able to rotate into Big Tower and go open that wall, but they just didn't do it. I don't think the ace even used any of his cellmate charges at all. There was no hard breach. Yeah, and we're getting a stat here as well. 30 seconds or less on every single push into site by JWU, which shows that's good for them that they're able to win out 4 rounds in that kind of situation. But it also goes to show they're not the best at clearing. They take way too much time on that roam clear. You have to have a little more time with your push. This isn't the 30-second meta anymore. So for you to come down to that time just means you're utilizing resources a bit too stringently on the roam clear. So that's something I would recommend cleaning up a little bit. But hey, good for them. It's still, in my opinion, a defender-sided map. So to get 4 wins on attack is still really good. Now we're going to see them switch over, and they will be on defense now. So they have positioned themselves in a good place, being up 4-2. So they just need 3 more rounds here on the defensive side to win this map. On CSU, you were able to take the last 2 rounds at least. So momentum is on your side. You do have things in your favor in the most recent of times. So they're going to have to see what they can do here on their attack, pushing in.
Things are looking up for CSU a little bit, but the only problem is that now that they're on the attack, which is the lesser side of the 2 halves on Oregon, might be a little bit more difficult for them to win these very crucial rounds. They are making pretty quick work, though, of that back attic wall, using up most of their utility to try to get it open. That's not a bad thing whatsoever. Once they get control of attic, that's going to allow them to also have a cross peek onto both that attic wall and also the master wall. That could allow them to go for a play and also find a lot of easy frags onto Johnson and Wells when they're on that heavy anchor. But smoke grenades coming out on both sides. Dizzy and Squall going to take a massive amount of damage from that Toxic Babe by a dose move. And I believe he's now going to try to hold a nice little bullet hole peek near that rotational hole, which could possibly catch somebody off guard. If Johnson & Wales picks up a frag onto the player and add it, that could completely slow down this push coming out. Ado being able to dodge these flash grenades as well. Another Toxic Babe following suit as well. He's got one more in his back pocket. So much time being wasted here against CSU. They just cannot trench through this toxic smoke. And I believe we could possibly see a kill come out very soon. He's lining up the shots. He almost sees the head. He'll find the body of one, but just shooting at the wrong moment. It's completely okay, though. He could still sit close quarters with that Mossberg shotty. Another Toxic Babe coming out. 40 seconds on the clock now. And CSU has got to find these frags if they want to win the 7th round and bring it closer to an even round situation. We have more utility being dumped in as well. So far, a kill has not come out until finally now, the last 30 seconds. Johnson & Wales picking up one as Meow claims the body of Squall. He will get spotted out in the back of couches, but there isn't much else to do. Meow finding a second kill. Nothing looking that well for CSU. They're essentially just sitting ducks in the middle of Attic. Now just up to 10 seconds on the clock. More and more kills coming out. Finally, Buck will claim one. Make it a second. Playboy just landing these headshots. He's got to go for the plant now, or let alone it's going to be let smoke in bed. Go for the plant. C4 narrowly missing. It's down to the wire. Ado finding a double. Can he get the third? He will not, but it doesn't matter. Johnson & Wales coming out on top for the 7th round. They have more than enough time to defuse, and that's going to be a 5-2 round situation in the favor of Johnson & Wales.
That was a very more standard defense. That's what I'm going to say. That's more typical about what you'll see. What did we see? The hard breach denial on the wall. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it makes them have to rotate below. Shoot. You saw the ass shooting charges up at that soft flooring just to make sure they can get that attic wall opened up. And by the time that was all said and done, it was about only a minute and 40 seconds left. And then on top of it, you play with that smoke. You're playing in attic, aggressing. The other thing that we could say is, all those attackers push through attic. I'm not a huge fan of one-dimensional pushes, as I'll call them. Going from one direction and hoping to win a round off of it, you're just funneling and letting the defenders literally watch one direction. That's a huge advantage for the defenders. I would like to see them adjust. They should have had some players rotate over. You already got the attic wall open. Yeah, have some people dedicated to do that push, but you also can rotate. The floor below the closet, as you've mentioned, is also soft. So they could easily have had the ace open up the closet wall. That way, that games area, the defenders aren't able to play in that room anymore if you open that up, or at least not as easily. So if you get control of that, you can help get control of attic. They play hand in hand together. Then you can even potentially get the plant in that the same position we saw them try to get the plant down, but they would have had lines of sight from the closet. They might not have lost so many men trying to push into attic there, and it would have been a very different situation. But we're going to see the defense now of the basement, as they did win upstairs, and they're up 5-2. So, as we mentioned, this is a defender side map. We are seeing the shield being brought. I mentioned that on pillar. That being brought allows them to have a line of sight. You see the wall is soft in that little closet room, that little square room with the hatch where the mirror was placed by the other team when they're on defense. You see that the wall is soft so that they can hold on that shield. They can peek up, and they can shoot all the way over into bunker where those attackers will be pushing, more than likely.
Yeah, about the sightlines, though, about last round, can make it very quick and simple. That way we can get back into supply site. If they had that back wall and closet opened up, that could have allowed them to cover the plant much easier. I know you mentioned that, but you could watch both the rotate hole near the top of white and also just the wide opening area near attic door, and also a little curb around that area. But again, more sightlines being made up on the side of JWU is, like you said as well, they have that bunker wall opened up in order to look through the blue doorway. But at the moment, though, CSU is doing a very deep commit in towards the back of Big Tower stairwell, now repositioning just a tad bit, maybe to get that back hatch opened up to give some more sightlines leading in towards electrical room. At the moment, that exo charge now finally going to go off and detonate in a matter of moments. Playboy as well, using some of his own utility to be on that flank watch with those air jabs, gave off a very loud audible cue and knock back the opposition of JWU. So great work done by them so far, not wasting that much time, but they only have 1:30 to work with. So we're getting a little bit dicey in that 5-on-5, which as more and more time dwindles down, it's going to favor Johnson & Wales, the more men they have to work with here.
Yeah, looking at the push here, they are going to be trying to push down the big tower stairs. Now, here's the key position. This is the key battle to watch out for. Can the Sophia push that Jaeger off the shield in pillar area? Can they get control? If they can, this looks like a lot easier of a push for the attackers. Now, we do see that they actually already gave up the pillar control. They're playing back further. The wall is soft into that B bomb site, so they're going to be able to shoot through the soft wall towards these stairs. That's the other thing that I like to see. So these attackers are able to push in. Those Squall is going to get the opening kill. That's a doe. Smooth getting a kill. Another 2 coming out from his Sakuma. Squall getting a second one for themselves. Strict Vow is going to try and refrag, but he has to get the ace if he wants to bring it back. As it is 1v4. Now none v3. He did get a kill, I believe, at the end, but Squall able to get the triple on that round after getting those first 2. He cleans it up on the last kill here.
Great round win, nonetheless, by California State University. It's now going to make things a little bit closer, and hey, we might have history repeat itself. We were in that 5-on-2 split, and now we're heading into a 5-on-3. I mean, hey, history always tends to repeat itself. It could definitely happen again, but let's just hope that Johnson and Wales does not choke up that formidable lead, especially since they're on the defending side, which is much more favorable than the attack. We are going to see Johnson and Wales, though, speaking of them, they are going to go back to Laundry and Supply, bringing back the exact same team composition. Now, the question is, though, will they do the exact same strategies? They did 6-pick off the Bandit now onto Mira, so things could be a little bit easier when it comes to defending that back wall into Electrical, and maybe they could also do what CSU did earlier into the game and have one of the walls in Freezer reinforced and the other one have a Mira right on it. I think they're getting ready to prep that right now, actually. Yep. Called it. Read it like a book.
Yeah, that's a pretty classic place to put the Mira. I don't want this to put the Mira on that. Okay, they're putting it on a different wall. Look at that. They're putting it looking towards Big Tower. I like that. That's actually a lot smarter. Putting it on that wall looking towards Bunker is useless, as we saw. They open up the hatch. They have the line of sight to open up that Mira, so it makes no sense to do that. The other thing I want to point out, they had that shield. They had the ADS shield. They just gave it up. I don't understand the mentality there. You could play a man to die there to burn even more time. Potentially could have got a pick onto someone on Big Tower stairs. I don't know if that's simply trying to play time. Oh, we're down to so much time. We can push. We can just let them have that control. But it was too early. There's still plenty of time. Those attackers you saw just push straight down. They got control of Pillar. They got control of B site even because of the kills on Squall or from Squall. And so they gave it up too early, and then the control was lost. They're not able to retake it. The attackers are just able to get all the frags they want. Had that player stayed on Pillar, he, for one, could have been looking at the bunker push. We saw some players did push through there. I think they might have even dropped the hatch. Either way, they pushed from a line of sight that he could have been holding. But instead, he retreated, and they're able to just drop down the hatch and push down the big tower stairs with nothing really to stop them from doing so. So, oh my goodness, Meow. Playing up in Big Tower, they're not doing a proper drone clear. This is why you want to definitely drone Big Tower, though, because players will play even up on that 3rd floor of Big Tower oftentimes. And in this case, they're completely ignoring that. He might be able to, if he's patient, just play time and then just flank behind them, knowing they're going to be pushing and executing soon. Now, the other thing that's very dangerous, though, is if that Dokubi pops one of her rings in the phone calls and he's not aware of it and he's just starting to push behind them, that sound could give away his position, and then an attacker could easily flick back onto him. So if this Dokubi utilizes it well, they could actually figure out their position and not be caught unawares. But looking at the position, Meow is directly above the Sophia right now. If they push down right now, they could have a free kill.
Oh, he's playing so patiently, and finally he's going to sweep upon his prey and strike. That's going to be the Sophia player down and out, and the man advantage now in the favor of Johnson and Wales. We're going to have Meow now retreat back to the basement floor, trying to work his way towards Blue Bunker possibly. He's got to worry about one more player right behind him near Big Tower, but he's going to just keep trenching on forward. He goes for the wide swing. Squall can't hear the audible cue. That's going to be another massive frag for Johnson and Wales as 2 Indras come out, 1 on each side. It's essentially a 4v2 all up to Playboy and Dizzy. We're going to have Playboy try to get that revive up as he did just go into a medium gunfight for a moment there. Dizzy picking up 1, but Meow immediately clapping back. Now a 3rd for the Lamaya going 14-4. Can he get the ace, or will it be another denied and just only a quadra kill We have Playboy again trying to contest the angle. A C4 goes out. It'll land right onto Playboy, but not finishing him off just yet. The wide swing comes out. Mute finally finishing him off. It's just up to Let's Smoke in bed, and he'll meet the exact same fate as his fallen brethren, finally being brought down 6 feet under, and that's going to be Johnson and Wales bringing it match point 6-3.
Well, I mean, history repeats itself. They did go up 6-3 on the last map as well. So I'll just remind everyone of that. It was the same scoreline and then 3 in a row for CSU to bring it back. In this case, I think it's a lot more to ask as they are on attack on a defender-sided map, typically a defender-sided map. And looking at these defenses, I like them a lot. They're playing them a lot better, in my opinion, than what we saw on the other side from CSU. And no offense to them, but just seeing them playing with the shield, seeing them play in the key positions, watching the right angles. We saw a player playing in freezer. That's exactly what you want when you know they're going to be pushing from there. And then we also saw Meow. That's what you want too. You know the hatches can get opened up. Have that roamer. Have them waiting. Even if they find you out, you might waste more time having them have to hunt you down. Looking at Meow, is at 14 kills and only 4 deaths so far. So this has just been a very, very great matchup for him in this map specifically. I expect to see this top floor defense hold out for them. I expect this to probably be the last round if they can hold out. We saw last time the attackers only funneled through attic and they all got destroyed for it. They literally just met a meat grinder. They just got completely slapped. So I would like to see on the attacking side of things, CSU, you have the capability. Your team all really had decent amount of frags. As I mentioned, they're the team that had that 6 to 9 kills, very even balance. So all of their players can frag. Rotate them, man. Have someone open up that attic like you did, but you can't all funnel through there. As we mentioned before, if they get this closet wall opened up where you see the bandit charges up in the foosball table area, if they can just get that open up as well, you have 2 different lines of sight, 2 different pushes. That makes the defenders have to play a lot more wary. So that's what I'd like to see from them. But looking at the lineup, they only have the Zofia to help from below, unless they want to just shoot it open those floors. So they're going to have to use utility very wisely here if they want to get both walls opened up.
Yeah, that might be a little bit of a problem for them, as with both Mute and Bandit on the board, they could possibly go for somewhat of a trick on the wall, and there might just not be enough utility to deny those mentioned tricks. And again, I think CSU is really missing out on an opportunity here to possibly gain a lot of ground against Johnson & Wales. They're only going for the master side take at the current moment. Obviously, they have about 2 minutes to work with, so they could obviously transition later into the round, but it's better to attack them at the exact same time, forcing Johnson & Wales to kind of thin their own herd to counteract the double-sided push. And once that push becomes successful for CSU, the plant can go down, which will greatly benefit the attackers, as it basically puts them on that defending role compared to the attacking side. But closet wall now going to be opened up here by Let's Smoke in bed. Meow holding a very tight angle on the prone position. Barbed wire being broken in the background as well by Ace, but still just waiting for the perfect opportunity here to try to pick up another frag, as Meow is just waiting for someone to walk right on through. If CSU does not properly drone out this Wamai, that could be the end of this round and map entirely. But luckily, they're going to land a shot right on the head of Wamai. That's going to now be a 5-on-4 favoring CSU, as they're going to slowly but surely make their way in towards foosball.
These defenders need to be a little more aggressive. This shield being in attic itself is not helping them. It should have been pointed towards this entryway of trophy, and we see the Ace is able to just walk in and gets another kill. But there's going to be 2 refrags. Trick Viral getting a double kill. He's bringing back an even man count. The Ace is going to push and get the kill, though, so Squall getting a triple on the round. Each player having a good game, but it's Squall who's coming out on top. That's a quad for him. They're getting the plant down. It's all on coin flips. He does not have a C4 in hand. He has to just come up these white stairs by his lonesome and get a retake against 3 players. Probably a lot to ask. Probably not going to happen. And Squall is going to get the ace. He's going to clean it up. And they are going to bring it back a little closer. It's going to be 4 rounds to 6 now, I believe.
Yep, indeed. Another round win that's going to allow that slight comeback situation to possibly occur by CSU. Great ace as well by Squall, finding all 5 separate opponents in different instances. that round really was won off the back of him, not just by his kills, but also him being able to use up all of his utility properly, getting that back wall and closet open, allowing 2 different sightlines to be held by the attacking team, then the plant going down, and then covering those tight angles that the rest of his team really wasn't looking out for because they had so much faith in his gun skill. And we clearly saw both sides of this man and this man alone. But we're going to see a reattempt of Kids in Dorms Room now by Johnson and Wales. A 6-pick coming out off the Wamai now onto a Valkyrie, so that's going to allow them to gather a little bit more intel. But they're also still bringing the operators like Mute that could also do the exact opposite and deny some utility and intel on the side of CSU.
There's a few nitpicky things I'm going to point out. And again, they're nitpicky, so they might not have a huge impact. But looking at the lineup, they've been bringing Mute a lot. That's a direct counter to those Dokkaebis. I've said this before back on Coastline as well. So that Dokkaebi pick, you already have the ace with smokes. It's very much not useful when you have Mute jammers like that. It becomes that much less useful. It's already hard enough to use those 2 calls to really help your team. Yeah, it helps you a little bit when you're executing, maybe you know the positions, but especially when a lot of these players are playing insight near a Mute jammer, those phone calls are not very worthwhile, and you already have someone bringing smokes, so there's really no justification for that pick anymore. I think they should switch off of it and bring something else that would be more useful, just straight up utility-wise. But they were able to make it work, and that's mainly Squall. He does have the best gun in the game, the AK in hand, so can't underestimate that. He's able to just push in. He had the aggression. That's the other thing I noticed from JW's defense, JWU's defense. They were not at all aggressive on that trophy door, and the attackers were able to just walk right in. Now, if Meow had that support, he might not have felt the need to aggress on the breach. He could have held an angle, and his partners could have been peeking that hole. And his partners could have been watching the trophy door for him. I think he kept looking left because no one else is peeking. There shouldn't be one man watching a breach and a doorway by themselves. So he needed some support. That'd be the adjustment, I would say. Have some of these defenders outside of Meow playing together. We do see the Valkyrie, though, on the cam over there in the corner of games room. I'm wondering where they threw the cams. This is a map where you can throw it outside and get a lot of information. So if they have a camera outside, they might be able to watch out for that push from the balcony. They also might have them down below or in sight just for a retake purpose. I'm not quite sure, but either way, hopefully those extra cameras will give them extra eyes. We do see the players on attack. They actually might be doing a white stairs push here. So they have at least 3 of them located down below at the bottom of white.
That could really lead to some odd encounterments, maybe a great surprise against Johnson and Wales, but they're actually going to opt to just go right on back towards classroom and then now reposition a bit in towards meeting. So it's going to possibly be an attic-sided take. Not entirely sure, as everyone's kind of just all over the place at the current moment. And maybe, just maybe, we might see CSU get both of the main walls opened up at the same time, as Ace was on that southern side of the map, but now he's going to actually rotate on over to the northern side where Thermite is currently placing his first exothermic charge that will detonate on the main wall and open right up, forcing some of the players of Johnson and Wales to now fall back yet again. About 50 seconds on the clock, though, so this is somewhat favoring Johnson and Wales. They are able to waste a fair amount of time against this attic-sided take, and CSU is trying to work their way around onto the kids' window and also big window, but if they get immediately shut down, this is basically, again, going to be a one-sided push by CSU, and that will fall immediately against Johnson and Wales' strong defense. We have a dose move playing in that back corner. Cornflip going to be the first one to strike, though, shutting down Squall. Here comes the wide swing. I don't know if they're aware of Smoke's position. Meow will pick up one. That's going to distract most of the attackers on SCU. There goes another one now by a dose move this time. It's just one left into Attic. Can he land the shots, though? It'll be a refrag by Let's Smoke in Bed and another of its Kuma. Now a 2-on-2, but there's no time left. Frags go back and forth. It's just a 1v1 now. Can Coinflip last long enough? He will! Denying the plant with the prone play behind the foosball table. And Johnson and Wales not going to miss out the opportunity to take map number 2. That's going to even up the map score 1-1. And we will, in fact, see the decider map of Clubhouse tonight.
So, that was good work, but I'm watching it. I'm like, they wasted way too much time on that attack. I just have to say it. They started below, bottom white. They rode it all the way through meeting up into that attic wall. It's like, Come on. If you're going to go there, just go straight there. You don't have to waste that much time. They wasted so much time just clearing out below, making sure no one's below, but that doesn't really help you. And I like the push they decided to go with. I like it. They go for the double window. They go for the kid bedroom. They have someone repelled there. It works, but like now you're down to 50 seconds to execute that. There's still a smoke on the board, throwing smokes out. It wasn't the play. They set themselves up for that failure. And it's not as if the idea was bad. It just needed to be executed faster, really. It just came down to the time. If they had executed faster, I am fully confident that then that 1v1, the Zofia would win. That's what I think would happen. But unfortunately, the time just was not in their favor because of the I think they maybe just didn't know what they wanted to do, to be fair. I think that's what it probably was. Now, this is going to be the last map. I've said this before. Depending on the bans on this map, it can switch whatever side's favorite. If Cade is banned, I think it becomes attacker sided. That's just my preference. I've seen it many times now because Cade more and more is becoming banned on this map. I think that instantly makes it attacker side. But the other thing to keep in mind would be what will the attack bans be? Is it going to be the Maverick? He's really powerful on this. Is it going to be Hibana? That way you can actually impact trick those hatches. So there's a few different interesting op bans on this map now that will really change out how this is going to play out. Now, thinking about the attack of who's going to be on attack, who's going to be on defense, it's going to be CSU. They've been on defense both maps. This is their first time starting on attack. So they're going to have to plan the bans around that as well. I think you do normally plan around what side you start on. They usually try and give yourself an advantage there, right? So if you're on attack, you're probably going to ban that Cade that I just mentioned. Or if they've decided maybe the Mira is more important. Mira is pretty powerful on this map too. So there's a few different bans I can see. I do think this will be a very interesting matchup. We've seen each team have a pretty reasonable win. The first one was overtime, but they won so many rounds in a row. It just goes to show that they were able to just click. Eventually, they just made it click. They made it work. Here, though, what do you think? What do you think the bans will be? I'm curious.
That's a great question. And yeah, you did bring up the fact that with a lot of changes that have recently happened, especially with Thatcher and Habana, it's made some of the key factors like bandit tricking and also impact tricking a lot more difficult nowadays. So this map can actually become very attacker-sided based off the bans like you mentioned. And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad that you did your job phenomenally there. But before we get a little too much into the bans and the final map, we are going to take a short little break. I doubt it'll even be 5 minutes, just so we can give these players a minute to breathe and kind of think as to how they want to change things up on this map. And we'll be seeing you all again very shortly. Okay, and welcome back to the final map of tonight for NECC Esports. My name is Fellow, if you need a quick reminder. Also joined here by Welku, and we're going to cut right to the chase. We're going to get right into the final match on Clubhouse. It's California State University versus Johnson Wales University, both having one map to their name. And this is going to be the final one to take it all. Who do you think is going to win this one, Wes?
It's hard to say. It really is. CSU, they just... I don't want to say this like to sound mean, but it didn't look like that was really their map last time. Those first half was just not the best for them, and they weren't able to recover from it. The defense just didn't look like they had practiced it enough, I don't think. And that's fine. You know, it's the beginning of the season. This is the first season of this league even happening, so this is the time to learn. Looking at Maverick is going to be the first one banned. I did mention how powerful he is, so that's going to leave the Thatcher on the board since they've opted to ban out that Jackal. Jackal is very strong. This is a roam heavy map, especially in the basement floor. You need that roamers above to try and buy more time usually, and so that Jackal not being available will help the roam game. And then the Cade, I had talked about this as well before, how powerful that is. That's going to make it a lot easier for the attackers. So both Thatcher on the board and Cade banned. This is why I'm saying it's probably going to be attacker sided. They're going to be able to open up whatever they want to open up. So these defenders are going to have to find creative ways to play this. Oh my goodness, a Mozzie ban. That's very interesting. You don't see that very often. Is that there was a player, I don't remember who it was, but there was certain players on each team really playing him. So that's what I'm going to assume is it's a target ban to counter a specific player who was playing that Mozzie last time.
I think that was it, and I'm not honestly a big fan of target bans like that. There really could have been a lot better options like the Malusi, because now it's going to allow team comps where it's both Wamai, Jaeger, Malusi, Goyo, and a Maestro possibly. That is just the upper echelon of like 20-second meta that we saw last season. It's still being brought here and there, but definitely not as strong as it used to be, but it's a very formidable opponent against most teams. We aren't going to see that exact lineup, but we are, in fact, again, going to see that very dynamic duo of the Jaeger and Wamai for round number 1. Johnson and Wales opting to go CCTV and Cash Room. And for the Wamai and Jaeger pick, it's definitely a very, very good idea, especially if Capital's on the board. He's very strong on this top 4 objective room, and Wamai is his biggest counter to deal with. His gadgets are pretty much the only thing that can really stop them, and those capital arrows can deny stuff like the bandit trick from happening, but because of the new Thatcher changes, it's much harder to do that, and it's also very hard to bandit trick when there's no bandit on the board, so that goes for that too. But regardless, Wamai and Jaeger, 2 thumbs up indeed. Very great combination.
Yeah, this is a pretty standard loadout. You have the mute to help deny things, you have the Valkyrie for the cams, you have the 2 duo that you just mentioned, the Wamai and the Jaeger, going to be helping keep those projectiles on the down low. And then on top of it, you have the denial of plant coming out on the smoke. On the other side of things, we are going to see the Ace and the Thermite being brought out with the Thatcher. So this is a very common thing on this map, having dual hard breach. You want to make sure, in case someone dies for one, but also you want to have someone be able to open up that main CC wall, and then you're also going to probably do the dual push from the construction side. If you get control, open up the construction wall as well. So having a dual push, especially on this site, is pretty powerful. Meow, though, you're going to take out Dizzy with a C4 right off the bat. Not sure exactly where that happened, but it looks like they were in the bottom of the garage, or maybe threw it on the wall. Not quite sure. Either way, that is a kill for them, and that's the Dokkaebi off the board. Not even going to be able to use one of her phone calls. But I've talked about this before. That seems like a comfort pick. The Dokkaebi being brought, and we yet again see the mute being brought. So I still think that that's not the best option to bring.
Yeah, not the best start for CSU. On the bright side, though, they'll finally get that main wall opened up, allowing for some sight lines onto the players in the middle of the B site, and also rafters as well. We have both Meow and a Dose Smooth playing on that top area near garage, so some possible sight lines can be performed by the Thermite or anyone else that's kind of near that area, but I'm beginning to believe that we'll see that slow transition now heading towards the CC, or part of the construction side of the map, but also a possible take heading in towards Raptors. If they can finish off the 2 players in there, that could go for a very easy defuse on the default part of CCTV. That could end up being a very important win for CSU, but currently stuns coming out, and Ace just not aware of a dose move being right near garage doorway. That's another opening pick for Johnson and Wells, almost a third. It in fact will be, as Strict Viral finds one onto Playboy, and oh my god, Thermite meeting his maker as well. A double kill now for Meow. It's just a 1v5, all up to its Kuma. It's going to be a flawless round for Johnson and Wells, starting off strong on this defensive side on Clubhouse.
That was a really good defensive holdout. These attackers just did not know what to do. I think they might have got that breach open on CC. Wasn't able to see quite exactly how that worked out, but even with that open up, didn't seem to help them very much. These defenders just in the right position, and they're very aggressive. We saw the play from Yao coming out and just getting kills. We saw the push on to the Thermite on the breach, I believe is where he died. So just aggressive pushes. I'm curious, Squall was standing in the doorway, but like his body was a little bit in the middle of the doorway, and so he wasn't able to see Ado push him. So just the positioning there is kind of rough for him, unfortunately. So he wasn't able to get the kill, but I think he was more watching blue anyway, so he wasn't aware of the man pushing him from the garage door. We are going to see a 6 pick, though, from an Ace onto a Zofia, and so looking at the lineup, they only are going to have the Thermite as a hard breacher. They do not have any other hard breacher.
We also saw the Maestro pick come out, and that just, my face just lit right up. I'm so happy to see that pick coming out. He has such a great gadget for this basement site. You can use his Evil Eyes all the way up above, doing some vertical play to counteract the hatches from being opened. It's a lot more difficult when Habana's on the board, but the one downside to CSU's team comp is that they're not utilizing that hatch queen of Habana to get open the kitchen or moto area. That's going to be all up to Let Smoke in bed by his lonesome. He doesn't even have anybody else to back him up with a secondary hard breach like a Capital, for example, or just another hard breacher like Ace. So it's going to be very difficult for CSU to gain a lot of ground, but they could always just possibly push in towards dirt and then blue at the same time. That could possibly work out, not opting to go for the upper hatches. But even then, it's going to be a very risky move by them, and that could allow Johnson and Wales to start poking holes into their offensive take, and that could end up leading it 2-0 to Johnson and Wales' favor.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lineup here, and Maestro didn't bring impacts, which is just unfortunate because
I was gonna note
with the
that.
Thermite on the board, they could impact trick the hatch of kitchen if they try and open it and stop it. Literally, just 2 impacts, bam, bam, hard breach done. They literally have only that Thermite. So that's a missed opportunity from the defense to just shut down any hard breach and make them funnel through the doorways. Because if they just were able to impact trick that, they would give up no other positions to be opened up. So that's a missed opportunity. But even if they get the hatch opened up, it's still going to be a lot of work for them with only 1 hard breach. That's only the hatches if they utilize it there. Or they could get the bar hatch and try and get the opening into church. But again, only 1 hard breach with 2 breaching charges on his person. That's all you have. It's just not a lot to work with. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do. They're even going to utilize it on a blue hatch. So that really limits them now. A very curious decision. Now they're basically going to have to full dedicate to a blue push.
I think that was somewhat of their plan the entire time, but it definitely would have been a lot better for them to also go in towards dirt at the same time or main stairwell. Either one could have worked. Having a cross-sided attack heading into that part of the map, and that's one big problem about Malusi being on the board. Her gadgets are also bulletproof, and that's going to make it a lot more difficult to work for CSU's advantage when they're trying to push in towards blue side of the map. They are wasting a lot of time as well. The last minute is now striking now towards 55 seconds, and not a single kill has come out on either side. This is greatly favoring Johnson and Wales, and they also only have to worry about this blue-sided push like both me and Wes mentioned. Some utility will be destructed here for CSU. Things are looking a little bit more advantageous for them, but like I said again, a lot of ground to cover, and it is still that 5-on-5. We're going to have Playboy finally spot out Gent in the back of boxes. He'll find the head of that anchoring Jaeger, but now a 4v4 as Addo will in fact refrag immediately with that Alda. He could possibly find another, as these singular doorways are going to make very easy spray downs with that laser beam of an LMG. Now to the final 15 seconds on the clock, another kill coming out. I'm not too sure who that was by. It was by the SMG-11, a coin flip. Strict Viral gonna follow suit. Now a 4v2, now 4-on-1, and the round's over just like that in a matter of seconds. Johnson & Wales University taking another round win, as there is just not enough time for CSU to work with.
I mean, even if you rotate over, open a bar hatch, have someone drop down there. You can use those flashes and try and just hot drop. It's at least a better attempt than everyone pushing through blue. This is what I'm talking about with one-dimensional pushers. Look what happened. They're literally getting crossfired. The wall's soft. They can shoot them from armory. And then Church, we saw the Maestro's Alda just had a nice angle on that breach from the blue into Church. So you're forced to just funnel in. You didn't utilize your gadget properly. You're just going to get slapped. I'm just going to say it straight out. It's not a good idea. One-dimensional push, let's all push one direction. It almost never works. You're relying purely on your gun skills of winning against theirs, and they get to predict where you're coming from. You don't know where those defenders are going to be playing. There's a nice shot by Playboy onto Gent, playing that Jaeger in the back. But after that, no success. Just completely shut down.
We could finally have CSU seeing some success in their attack, as now we're heading in towards Gym and Master Bedroom, which is probably the best site to go up against as an attacking team, other than Bar and Stock, but we're not going to talk about that site. I don't even want to bring up its name for another time, but we are seeing that very common cash room extension being performed as well, reinforcements now being placed by a Dose Smooth, and now Mute's also going to back him up as well, putting down his jammers to deny those main walls from being opened up. It's basically like a second objective room here for Johnson & Wales. Once they lose control of here, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to try to stay alive in the middle of Master Bedroom, and for them to keep control of Master Bedroom is basically the entire round for Johnson & Wales, as Coin Flip is playing in the back near bathroom area with his mirror window in an attempt to deny that jacuzzi wall once it is opened up by CSU. And already, almost immediately, we're going to have Thermite try to detonate that main wall. Luckily, though, we did have a very intriguing mute trick done by Strict Viral. That's going to waste a little bit of time, but regardless, the wall will get opened up one way or another, as that Thatcher is still on the board, and there we have it. About 45 seconds used up, but in the end of the day, the main wall is opened up by CSU.
So here's the thing. They're planning for that. That's why this mirror is here. Had they brought a Hibana, had they brought an Ace, they can throw or shoot those charges onto this mirror. And yes, they're going to put a meat here, but you have that Thatcher in hand. So you could still Thatcher it and just get this mirror off of the wall here. And that's an easy opening. You're making life a lot easier for yourself. They don't have that capability. They only have the Thermite. He's going to have to literally run up to a wall to try and get that opened up. So it's just not the best op choices. I'm trying to be positive here. I really am. But looking at it, they don't even have a sledge. They have to punch this castle barricade open. It's just looking like a really rough time for these attackers, and I think it's literally all on the backs of these op choices. Now, Gent is going to get a kill onto Squall even to open things up, so after you can hear him hitting the barricade, he's just sitting there holding an angle with the carbine in hand, and he gets an easy kill, knowing that the player is going to be on the other side of that barricade that they're just punching at.
One problem for CSU, they don't have control of cash room at the current moment, and the remaining operators are also just stuck outside of Jacuzzi. This mirror window is just too much for them to handle, but finally, Let's Smoke in Bed is going to start working his way through the trenches. One kill will come out by Dizzy, but Strict Viral is going to finish off Let's Smoke in Bed. It's just up to its Kuma, at least in terms of the player behind Jacuzzi wall, trying to find one. Luckily, though, Playboy from behind picking up two magnificent headshots onto Viral and also Gent, now making a 3-on-2 as he tries to work his way into sight. An immediate refrag, though, the clap back by Mira, shutting down one. It's just the 2-on-2 now with one player left outside of Jacuzzi, essentially up to Dizzy, and he's going to get finished off by Meow. There's only 20 seconds on the clock now. Can It's Kuma clutch this out, or will he be trapped outside against this bulletproof mirror window? He'll finally work his way into main hallway, trying to contest coin flip. Even if he finds this one kill, he'll have to get another. 5 seconds on the clock. He could possibly win this, but Meow is playing the safer game here, forcing himself to walk back as the plant now goes down. I think Meow has enough time to possibly deny it. Can he, in fact, get there in time? The plant finally ticking down. Can Thatcher win the gunfight, though?
Oh, my God.
It's going to be the first round win in the favor of CSU. Now making things 2-1 going into round number 4. What a comeback by Kuma.
I just can't believe they actually won that. 2v1. The Mira, knowing their location, is playing very, very passive. I don't know why they're not just peeking, knowing what, like, just predict, move with the player. You can literally walk to the side at the same speed and just fire. So to play backwards, it's like they're scared to engage in that gunfight, and they lose because of it. The Thatcher's just able to swing on them and get the kill, knowing that the player's playing behind there, just waiting. They had to react to the other player because they didn't know where they were. They can't see through that Mira. And so just a misplay, I think, by Flipcoin. On the other side, good job. Kuma getting that kill, moves in. Meow, they played smart with the time, but they moved a little bit too far away. They get all the way over into cash. They probably could have just hid in the back of construction. And so that just a couple extra seconds was enough to get the plant down and reposition himself with the right angles. And then missing some shots, Meow gives away their position on top of it. That's not a criticism, it just happens. And so really good job from Kuma, just being able to play that reactionary game, being aggressive when he needed to be aggressive, and he's able to clutch it out on a 1v2. So really good job getting their first attacker-sided win. Now they have to contest with these other bomb sites. So that is the third site. That is the easiest site for attackers to win. So we'll see. Can they continue to have success after that round?
I think they definitely can if they don't waste so much time trying to clear out certain parts of the map, but that's what Rainbow's all about, is just trying to cover as much ground as quickly as possible, so I don't really blame them. Also, one thing I want to point out, Meow did the right play there by backing up, forcing the attacker to come to him in that 1v1, but he backed far too much, which allowed the plant to go down. And like you said, if there was just a couple of seconds left, that would have been a win by Meow. But because he had to go all the way from cash room back into master behind the default plant, it was just not a winnable situation, especially since he missed the first couple of shots as well. Just far too much time wasted. But we're now going to have Johnson and Wales return to cash and CCTV, which they ended up winning flawlessly the first time around. So if they keep playing the way they have been, other than that third round onto the master bedroom site, I shouldn't see a problem with them winning it flawlessly again. Meow going to get spotted out rather early into the round, now getting phone called as well, but a mute jammer should just do the trick immediately. I think that's exactly what he did there, so it's not really the end of the world. And he's also managed to retreat back into site, so about a minute wasted here by CSU, and only now have they gotten that main wall opened up in towards CCTV room.
Right, and good job for them. I mean, they got it pretty early, not even halfway through the round. So, but you kind of expect that. You have the Thatcher on board, so, and there's no Cade to try and throw it on an area that the Thatcher can't reach. But we do see a Dolos move is going to get the opening kill, and it's Kuma. The man who clutched last round to get them their first win is already dead in this round. So they're down a man. It's a 4v5 and half the round left, so they can still do things. But that is the Thatcher also off the board, so it makes it a lot harder to open up this wall and construction.
That's basically denying the double cross angle that you typically tend to see, which helps the attackers of CSU so much more than you would actually expect it to. Stun grenades coming out to try and push out the player near red, but there actually is no one there at the current moment. We might see a recontest, though, in just a matter of moments, as there is one player behind the box of cash room, and also that player near the top of red that I was trying to refer to, but just didn't cross my mind. But that 5-on-4 still favoring Johnson and Wales. Now a 5-on-3. Meow picking up the head of Dizzy. Not that much time left to spare either for CSU. Toxic Babes coming out, forcing Squall to remain outside and not be able to push inside the map, or rather let smoke in. And Gent and Meow finding separate kills of their own. It's just a 1v4, all up to Squall. He'll find 2 beautiful kills, but he's got to find 3 more and find himself a second ace of this best-of-3 series. He has about 20 seconds to work with. We could possibly see another clutch if he picks his kills meticulously, but he can't seem to land the shots through the reinforced wall. That would make a whole lot of sense in my opinion. now working his way inside of Cash Room. He wide swings around. He'll find a third onto the player of Coin Flip, almost a fourth, but he runs out of ammo. Oh no, almost finding the kill onto Jen, but that clip is not infinitely sized. And Jen's going to just mark it off of that factor, immediately shutting down the clutch possibility. And Johnson and Wales now 3-1 going in round number 5. What a narrow victory by California State University. Oh my God.
I do want to point out, Gent wasn't the last one alive. There was one other person he had to find.
Oh, no, I know. I thought he was going to do some... Nah, he totally had that in the bag after the 4K. They had to let him ace. It's just the rule. They had to let him ace.
I think he was on 3 seconds at that point. So even if he got the kill, I just don't think time. Even if his bullet,
I do agree.
Yeah. Even if he had unlimited bullets in his clip, the time was against him. Unfortunately, really valiant effort, but it really shouldn't come down to him trying to get an ace. The rest of the team needed to do a bit more there, and they're just not able to. We've seen Playboy also had some moments where he's just tried to bring the level of play up. You saw him on the buck. He got that double kill. That's what allowed Kuma to get that clutch. It was because Playboy came from office and got a double kill. That is literally the reason they won that round, because their strats just was not working. The Mira was watching that breach, and they had no answer for it. They could not get in construction either. So the only area they had was office, and that's only because Playboy, again, was able to make some stuff happen. Now, looking at it, we see again, their strats are just not working. They're losing the gunfights. Squall almost bringing it back, but it's just not enough. I think they need to have this team just start clicking on all cylinders, because Dizzy playing the Dokkaebi is not all that useful. We saw the phone call come out. What happens? Oh, I'm just going to run back to site then and hit the mute jammer so it doesn't affect me anymore. So Meow, it does absolutely nothing for him. And then on top of it, you have your Thermite, who is more of a support role, but they haven't gotten a single kill yet. And then that's actually mainly it's those two players. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not. But if your fraggers have to constantly get aces for you guys to win rounds, there's something not working in the strats. You can say I'm a support player, so I'm not expected to get kills, but then you are expected to get walls opened up and to put your team in a position to get a plant out, right? That's the idea. You play objective if you can't play frags. And in this case, I'm just not seeing the objective being played well. They aren't bringing the right ops either. They have literally not brought a Hibana this entire time when Thatcher's on the board and they're in basement holds and you can get out the hatches for free.
Yeah, I was going to suggest, instead of having the Thermite, bring that Hibana. That way getting open the hatches is much easier. And also, with Mute being so prominent on Johnson and Wales' team composition, it'd be probably better to bring a Buck or a Sledge rather than the Dokkaebi. That way you can do more vertical play and also not really have to worry about, is my gadget going to get immediately countered? You really can't counter a Sledgehammer unless you just flat out kill the guy. So that definitely gets rid of problem numero uno for sure. But already some ground will be attempted to be covered. One player in the back of main stairwell, that's going to be Dizzy. And also Dirt's going to be opened up by CSU as well. They only have about a minute to work with roughly, and we are still in that 5-on-5. So it's going to be an absolute bloodbath in the middle of site for either team. It's just a matter of who can cover more ground and who can just overall win more gunfights. We're going to have that push from the back of main stairwell, slowly push on through more and more. Smoke grenade now covering the flank, or pardon the rotational hole, my mistake, as Dokkaebi's just walking back and forth. Essentially, the hatch drop will immediately go out. That is not a very good time to push on in. You have to wait for the rest of your team. Meow gonna mark it off of that minor inaccuracy, now turned to a massive one, as that 5-on-3 is now favoring Johnson and Wales. Meow picking up a second for the round. It's just a 5-on-3, 20 seconds on the clock, and they're just going to have to push right on through sight if they want to even have a chance of winning this. But with all of these angles being contested by a singular player of Johnson and Wales, it's just not going to be enough. Dizzy getting shut down by coin flips. It's just up to Kuma and another, and just like that, it's just a meat grinder in the middle of Dirt Doorway, as it'll be another round win in the favor of Johnson and Wales. And I think that concludes the split finally, or is there one more round? Oh no, we are now into round number 6, but it's 4-1 favoring Johnson and Wales. What a magnificent anchor into sight. Wes, I see your face. What do you have for
Oh man, I mean,
what are you gonna mention now?
I don't. Yeah. There's so many things to mention. You've already hit on it though. Sledge, Buck. Now they're bringing both, but they're not downstairs anymore, so doesn't do you a whole lot of good. Now, I will say this: they're going to go to that gym hold, right? So there is some good coming up. Sledge can help you take care of those castle barricades. You don't have to risk someone just punching it open this time. You can just hit it and back away, and not have to worry about it. Because when you're punching, they get the sound cue, right? And so they're aware. They're going to be watching it. The Sledge is a one and done, so they don't necessarily know you're there right off the bat. They might not be holding the angle on the barricade, waiting for it to break. So Sledge is a lot safer of an option. I think a better option even than that would have been to bring an Ash or a Sophia, which they did not bring. That gives you the projectile breaches, so you don't actually even need to be near any of those castle breaches when you open them. So I think that might have been a better play. But the main thing here, they could still make this work, right? You bring the ace. What was the problem last time? The mirror in the bathroom. We could get the outer wall of jacuzzi open. Well, this time we have the ace. We can throw that on that mirror. Okay, so I like that adjustment. The window of Jim was castled, which we see Castle pulling down, putting a castle there. You have the Sledge. He can open that up pretty freely. There's no one who's going to be able to watch that angle very well. Buck, that floor in the bedroom area, that's actually destructible. He could go below and start opening up the floor and starting to make these defenders move around a bit. So there is a lot they could do with the operators they brought. So I like this lineup a heck of a lot more than the lineup they had last time, because this time they actually have the throwable hard breach. They have the Sledge to take care of the castle barricades, and they have the Buck who could potentially even go below and open up some of the flooring to move some of these defenders. So it's all a matter of how well can they execute now. This time, they're playing it better in my opinion. As I mentioned, they have the better ops, but now I want to see the execution. Can they make this work?
I think they definitely can. If they allow the ace to use some of his Selmas to break that back mirror window, then that's going to force some of the play styles of Johnson and Wales to be a little bit more uncomfortable and not so favorable. After getting that mirror window open, they could possibly alternate towards the gym window and just try to just stack bodies on that part of the map. It sounds really dumb, don't get me wrong, but it would most definitely work out since you have multiple different routes to pick and choose from. There will be a slight push again heading in towards Cash Room by some of the players on CSU, but we still have a Dosum holding down the fort at the current moment. Going to have Dominguez Hill try to push him out, but he's just sitting closer and closer towards that main doorway. The peek will come out, and neither of the players actually spot each other. So we're still going to have that Wamai playing right on top of that table, not going to get pushed out just yet. And now the push from Construction Doorway also happens as well, a Construction Window, I should say. Dizzy taking far too much damage to want to recontest that angle. And now there's going to be a new runner-up against the solo player in the middle of Cash Room. It's going to be a move still now in the half area of Cash, backing up even more. He is just wasting so much time. This is such a winnable position now for Johnson and Wales, purely based off of that factor alone, and he can still hold that back window in construction as well.
Impact tricking, yes.
Oh my god.
We've seen it. They've actually done something strategic. I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, but that that's something a lot better than what we've seen, honestly. The bandit tricking wasn't really working earlier either. We kind of expect a lot of walls to get open with the Thatcher, but that's how you deny it. They didn't bandit, or they didn't impact trick down below. There's a lot of kills falling out, and now the attackers actually have the advantage. So, despite the excellent play with the impact tricking, they do have the man disadvantage. But the right angles are being held by these defenders. They have every advantage. But he's missing the shots. It's a 1v1, and no! Squall's able to win it despite the positioning of these defenders. The missing of the shots from that Mira is directly what led to that round being lost, because Squall was literally the person they were shooting at, and they just missed the shots. And in a 1v1, Squall doesn't miss. That's another round for them. They get the second attack round that they needed. Okay, yeah, I don't know. This is a really interesting play. That's what I'm going to say. These teams, they go back and forth where it looks like one has it, and then all of a sudden in these like 5 to 10 seconds, frags come out, and then the team that looked like they didn't have it, look, they have it all of a sudden. We've seen this before. We saw before on the last second push on that same site, Kuma pushing in, getting the kill. Meow rotates away, he gets the plant down, and then Meow can't retake and loses. The same thing similarly happens. The players are rotating back, they're giving control from up, they're not holding the angle on construction any longer, and the players are able to push in. Now that was more a little bit of a missed shot from the Mira. They just couldn't take out the ace through that wall, even though they could see their legs, so they just missed some shots there. So that's just more unfortunate than anything. But again, these last second pushers are somehow working out, and it's happened on both sides, so I'm not quite sure what to make of that.
Yeah.
10 seconds to go.
Wow, that's actually a really good statistic there. So we just got, word on the street that Johnson & Wales has been in the lead on the first half every single map. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and they haven't really been blundering as much as we've seen them overall, so great work by them. It is typical to see them lose the gym and bedroom site, don't get me wrong, but it was both 1vx situation or 1v1 situations, I should say, not 1vx situations, and they were definitely winnable. Just some very missed opportunities, like Meow overextending when trying to waste the time there in that 1v1 the first occasion on round number 3, and then just some narrowly missed shots there by the Mira at the very end. So both very close to end up being a 6-0 in the favor of Johnson & Wales, but we're going to have CSU still hold it in just a little bit, so a very common 2-4 split will in fact be the case. But already, the main wall will in fact be opened up, along with some vertical play being performed as well by coin flips, which could allow some early frags to go out. Squall going to take some damage, but oh my god, he'll just
nice
immediately clap back. What a beautiful shot against coin flips. That's going to be the buck down for the count. And not the worst position to be in for CSU, as they still have that main wall left shut. But it's only a matter of seconds before that Selma finally activates on top of it, and will finally give some sightlines. And there we have it, just as I mentioned it. Speak of the devil, the main wall is now opened up, allowing for some more sightlines for Johnson & Wales.
So I've been critical on this. I'm open about that, right? Like I've been very critical, but I do like what I'm seeing on each side. There are some things that I do like. For one, you mentioned this before. If you're going to bring just one hard bridger, you should have someone at least who has like a secondary hard bridge. Capital has a secondary hard bridge. So you have the ace, and ace also has 3 of those charges. So there's a decent bit of hard breach here. So you can't really criticize them on the op choice in that sense. And then the Capital bolts, very useful. You can push people out of certain positions. There is the Wamai discs, and then speaking of which, Meow's going to take out Playboy, so no more Wamai discs. Whatever he threw is the only thing that's out there. A second kill. He just hits him on the top, I think, of the stairs there. No, actually, that must have came out somewhere else. But what a nice shot. Meow getting a double kill, and now Ado's move is getting another kill. A refrag does happen, so Ado is taken out by Let's Smoke in Bed. So they're bringing it back a little bit, but Meow able to bring this round into their favor just by fragging out here on the doorway of the construction into cash.
Down for the last 30 seconds, smokes now being thrown out by Capitero's primary crossbow. Some asphyxiating bolts soon to follow up, I'm only assuming. There we go, there's one. But Gent will get shut down by one. Meow gonna immediately find a third, but Squall will immediately also eliminate him. It's back to another 1v1, all up to Squall versus Strict Viral. If it's any player to clutch up this 1v1, it's gotta be Squall, the current top fragger of Dominguez Hill. He'll try to find a wallbang, narrowly missing. That's going to allow the plant to go down. He doesn't know where exactly it could be. He'll finally process it out. He doesn't know it's the prone player, but luckily he'll get a second chance. I thought that was going to be a win by Strict Viral, as that prone player did not get spotted out, but luckily he'll finally notice it was a live body, picking up the 3K and the defuse, giving Dominguez Hill another very important round win to somewhat even things out. Only now 3-4 rather than 2-4.
So I'm gonna do this teacher approach. I don't remember what this is called, but you affirm first, and then you're gonna criticize, right? So you want to make sure that you're still showing the love, and I will show the love. He stuck the plant. Imperative. He had to. He didn't have time, and the man is just trying to wallbang him through the wall, randomly shooting.
Caveira.
So really smart play there. I hope that Cav is just a bait, because in Siege she really isn't that useful. But I mean, looks like Dizzy's sticking with it. He's been unconventional. He's played the Dokkaebi, so maybe it's again a comfort pick. He's comfortable with it. But what I was gonna say is getting the plant down was smart. The thing that I didn't like is just going prone in a 1v1 like that. It just, you're putting yourself, and you're in a position where your prone body can be visible from multiple different angles. Laying out like that, you're longer than that table is. So meaning your head and legs are going to poke out on each side. It just wasn't the play. And they put themselves in such a good position by getting the plant down, but it feels like they just kind of threw it away by laying down at the end there. And that's just unfortunate. So hopefully it's a learning moment. I know a lot of people like to go prone, but the only time you should go prone is in the dying seconds you're running away, and then you turn and you know they have to push through a doorway, right? So then you're prone holding it. They're not going to look for you. They're not going to aim down normally. We saw Pengu pull that off in Pro League before against BDS on the same bomb site. He ran into the CC area. They had to push through the red stairs main hallway into the doorway, and then bang, he has the shotgun in hand, gets an easy kill. But like, that's an exception, right? Most of the time in this game, you don't want to go prone because you can't move very much. You make a lot of noise. The mobility, it really hinders you in a 1v1. If you're just crippling yourself by laying down like that, you're hindering your movement. You just really, it's a huge deficit for yourself, putting yourself in a really bad situation. So that's my main criticism there. I do like, though, that he stuck the plant. So I can give some credit there. The other thing to look at here, though, the attacker side, they're bringing the Hibana. I like it. We talked about why that is so important on this map. You have the Hibana. Yeah, they don't have any other hard breach. They do have Capital bringing, again, a hard breach gadget. But in this map, if you get opened, you can get opened for free both the hatches, both the primary hatches. You can get the kitchen and the bar hatch. Even if they impact trick, you have enough in your gadget toolkit with Hibana to open it up anyway. And then on top of it, you mentioned you like the dirt push. I like it too if it's paired well. We saw them try a dirt push before. The problem was they didn't push in from dirt at the same time as that ace drop. And so we saw the ace just get slapped on his way down trying to prone drop. But he was by himself, so of course he's just going to have a hard time. No one else was pushing in with him. So if we can see the teamwork here, they use the Hibana, open up the hatches, and they use the Capital, open up a hole into the dirt. They could do a dual push like that, and I think it could really work out. Now, the thing to be careful here, we do see that Cav is in the bathroom, and the Buck is up here. They're looking in that direction, but I don't think they're aware that she's actually in that bathroom. So that's something to be very, very cautious of here.
They did spot her out, but again, like you said, I don't know if they were able to catch her in bathroom. That last drone finally coming out, though, lands right underneath her feet, so that's going to finally cause her to be spotted out. She really can't leave from here. It's going to just be an immediate pickup there, and there we have it. Gent going to be the first one to strike upon Cavero's body, finally ending her life, and oh no, that C4. I don't know if that was actually a breaching charge or a nitro cell. It was a nitro cell by Squall, but luckily, it did not finish off the Zofia players. She will be immediately revived by the remaining players on her team, and now more and more vertical play pursuing. That's another thing that I like about Johnson Wales' team. They're not afraid to do that vertical play and bring a very fruitful lineup, which is allowing them to A, flush out the roamers, and B, get some really solid lines of sight into the objective room. Squall going to take some damage, though, now forcing himself to play behind the A-bomb chassis, now rotating in towards Moto, but the plant's going down, and there's no defenders trying to contest at the current moment. I'm not even sure if they're aware the plant now going down at a 4v3, as Let's Smoke in Bed will pick up a frag onto Meow. That stun grenade going to clap right back into the face of Johnson and Wales, but now it's a 2-on-2. Squall finding a team kill underneath, picking up a couple of other frags onto the attackers. Another stun grenade coming out. They have no clue, though, that Gent is right there. He'll finally refrag, and now it's just a 1v1. He has his air jab out, though. Why does he not have the AK? It'll stun Womai for just a split second, but he has more than enough time to defuse. A missed clutch there by Gent, as Let's Smoke in Bed will end up winning the round solely off the fact that their air jab was in the hands of Nomad rather than the bullets instead. Oh my god.
I do have a criticism here, again, as I always seem to do, right? But here's one that's really basic. Really basic. They all drop hatch. You get the plant down. Buck's on main stairs. Why didn't he rotate up? And he has verticality looking down at that defuse. They have to go up and clear him out.
I agree.
so much time could have been wasted just trying to get him cleared out, trying to shoot back up. I've mentioned this a couple times. When you're above in verticality, you really do have the advantage. We saw the buck below, and then what happened? Squall just slapped him, right? Because he had the verticality from above. So it is an advantage. So to have that verticality available, you open up the hatch, you drop, you get the plant, but you didn't leave anyone. Why did all 3 people drop? You didn't need to have all 3 people drop. Have one person drop with the planter. They can hold the angles, and then person plays above, helping stop any close pushes. They had it. I'm mainly frustrated because they could have won. Like, it worked so well. They did everything well. They got the soft destruction. They got the hatch open. There's so much good going on, but then it's just like with the plant going down and then going prone. It's the exact same thing. Just one last second mistake of everyone on the same floor with the diffuser now when you could have had verticality. It's the same thing as, I'm gonna go prone after a plant's down behind this table. I'm only frustrated out of care, right? Like, I really think they could have won that.
And by our lovely statistician and also host here, it's also mentioned that this has been not the first time that a 4vx situation has been thrown away by Johnson and Wales. Very disheartening to see, but at the very least, they've been able to clutch up a lot of those less likelier rounds and also come up with a couple of flawless ones as well. So it's been back and forth for them, but it's not the worst case situation at the current moment. But I agree with you, Wes. What was that?
I was going to say, he's actually not saying 4vx. He's saying they're up 4 compared to 2, I think. Let's say.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so he's more talking about the rounds they've been up, and then they lose the round.
Sorry. So, well, hey, thank you, Wes.
No problem. I just thought I'd clarify.
But 4vx's have also been thrown away here and there as well. So
that's true.
Kind of true, but not the point we were getting at. You're right. I'm terribly sorry. That's on me. It happens. But I agree with you. Having someone play above would have been the proper idea there. And what's not proper?
Oh no!
While finding a very nice opening frag onto Gent, that's going to shut down the active utility of Nomad yet again. This has not been the first time that Nomad's been taken off the board almost immediately, rendering her pick useless, as she can't use those air jabs from the grave. They're now just stuck in her back pocket the entire round. That's going to allow possible flanks to occur later in this 9th round. Some shots will come out as well by Meow onto Playboy, but they're not going to confirm the kill just yet, only bringing him down to about 55 HP as more and more pre-fires and wallbangs will be attempted by the man all on his own in the middle of CCTV. That main wall now being opened up. Concussive blast landing in the middle of Malusi's face, but she's going to play this calm and collective, not overextending. Squall, however, is going to be on the aggressive roll, now shutting down Meow. That's the top fragger of Johnson and Wales off the board. We luckily, though, have a dose move picking up one onto Playboy. That's going to open up Cash Room just a tad bit, especially since that Capitao arrow lands onto Let's Smoke in bed, evening things up 3-3 fashion. That's going to allow Johnson and Wales to now move their way into both logistics and construction wall, or room, I should say. That breaching charge will be destroyed, though, through the soft destruction of those bullets landing through the immediate wall. Now Coin Flips is going to instead recontest the doorway leading into sight. So it's now going to be a little bit more of a passive push. Smoke grenades coming out. The plant could definitely go down in a matter of moments. There is one player behind the bomb chassis, though. Squall with the 3rd, and I believe a 4th now. In fact, it was not. Dizzy will pick up one of the Coin Flips, but it's just up to Capitao in a 1v2. It's the same situation that we saw before, but we're still going to have CSU win the round regardless. And that's now going to bring the advantage in the favor of the Californian team, now bring it 5-4, I believe, heading in around number 10. What a comeback by them.
Yeah, they did well. The Capital with the nice fire bolt kill. You like to see gadget kills like that. You don't see it very often, so that's kind of fun. On the other side of things, they had a 3v3. I was actually gonna be like, oh yeah, smoke, that's great. But the way they positioned that smoke, the bed already covers your feet. So they didn't have to worry about putting a smoke on top of the bed. If they would have just utilized it and shot it to the right a little bit more, the man laying down, Squall, I think it was, laying down, wouldn't have had the line of sight. He would have had to push through the smoke or just tried his best to just shoot through the smoke and get the kill. But they also could have pushed into the right a little bit more and hugged the wall and got the plant there. Used the bomb chastity to hide the line of sight from someone playing in the corner. That's a very common corner in the back of the bedroom near the wall into office. Someone almost always is playing there. So I'm just surprised that they would let that angle be opened up. And then no one was even watching it. We saw the planter try and go for it, and he's literally like staring dead at Squall. So it's just unfortunate that the smoke just wasn't in the right spot. The plant probably just wasn't in the best spot either. But they were also down on time. They had lost the opening engagements. So I get it. They're in a really tough position. But something to keep in mind, that's all 3 sites now. The full rotation won by CSU on their defense. JWU, those first 2 rounds as well. 1v1, they lose it. They have the plant down, they lose it. They're so close, but they have to clean it up if they want to win this map, because so far CSU has just been able to be the clutch ones, and that's what seems to be the difference here. Yes, you can get opening kills, and yes, you can get the right strats down, but if you're just going to give it away at the dying seconds of a round, it's all for naught, right? It's at the end of the day, It's the W. Doesn't matter how good your skills are, doesn't matter how good your strategies are. If you're not able to execute and bring it home to the win, it doesn't matter. And so far, Squall especially has just been able to just do what he wants. He's able to get the clutch wins. We're going to see Coinflip though getting the opening kill onto Dizzy, so that's at least an opening kill for the attackers. They might be able to get their first attacker win here on the back of that, but they're going to have to follow it up here. There is a minute only into the round, so they also have plenty of time. And it looks like there's no one else playing in that cache. But Squall's going to get a kill, but he's refragged by Meow. That's what you need. You shut down the top player. Also, someone did disconnect on their team, it looks like.
Yeah.
That's a little it's mid-round anyway, so we just got to play out the rest of the round. Hopefully the person can load back in time. That's a really dangerous thing for Meow to be shooting through the door like that. Probably want to drone and have someone playing with you, and you don't even need to contest garage. It's a 4v2. They should really try and just push in through sight, get control of construction, pushing through there. They don't even need to worry about this man on the rafters. I think if they try and contest this and lose a man here, it is not the best decision.
Yeah, a lot of damage being done by both sides. Playboy going to light up Gent, but the favor will get immediately returned. The Capitao arrow going to be the final thing to finish him off, possibly. He gets a shot, though, onto Meow. What a precise headshot there, but he's not going to find another one outside garage door. It's a complete rafters take, and it's just a 1v3. All up to the mute player of Let's Smoke in Bed by his lonesome. He's going to possibly try to push through that rotational hole. He's playing in the way back of Cash. He's going to have to push up at least a tad bit to try and deny this plant, but he doesn't have a C4 at hand. He brought the camera instead, so that's going to allow the plant to go down with relative ease. Smoke grenades and asphyxiating bolts covering it at the exact same time. That 30-second timer will now, in fact, favor Johnson and Wales, as the plant will be successful, and they do, in fact, have the man advantage along with total B site control. Let's Smoke in Bed will have to really make a miracle play out of this as they want to go to match point. He'll injure one, but he still has to find 2 more frags if he's going to win this round for his team. About 20-ish seconds on the clock left as well. It takes about 7 in total to get that defuse off, but he's not even going to have to worry about the defuse as Ado Smooth will finally finish him off on the main wall rappel of CCTV, and that's now going to even things up 5-5 as Johnson and Wales finally get a little bit of weight off of their shoulders, winning a round on the offensive side of Clubhouse. We're now going to have to go pause the timer for just a couple of moments, allowing the 5th player of Dominguez Hill to rejoin.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting matchup. It's been back and forth.
A long one.
But looking at JWU, they were finally able to get that win. And I was saying how close they were in those previous rounds. This time, it looks like they got what they needed. For one, they shut down Squall. Squall's been such a thorn in their side. He's been like almost literally the reason that they've lost all those rounds, is he just comes in clutch at these like dying moments, gets the kills necessary. But this time they're able to get the refrag on him. They play bodies. I was actually thinking maybe it wasn't the right move, but then I realized they had the Capitao. But then I also thought, there's a Wamai. He has discs. Why is this fire arrow even hitting him? But I think the reason is the Capitao was able to enter from below on garage, and so anywhere you place those Wamai discs, he can just shoot, or they're going to be back, and the fire will still drop down onto the Capital on the walkway, or excuse me, the Wamai on the walkway, the catwalk there. So I like the decision, knowing that now. In hindsight, I realized I was actually wrong there. Having the Capital and also dedicating like 3 people to push the one person in garage, that's fine. If you throw bodies at it, you're probably going to win. The concern there was, what if the Wamai did get a double kill? Then it's a 1v2. That's definitely a worthwhile trade, I'd say, for the defender. So they're pretty fortunate that he didn't find that second kill. He looked like he was very close to finding it as well. But looking at it moving forward, they're going to be going downstairs. This is the site they really could have won had they had that person above the attackers. The defenders were able to get that retake, though, despite the man disadvantage as well. They got the kills that they needed. So looking at it this time, I'm curious to see what the adjustments will be. The defenders probably know that was a very close call, because the plant did get down. They dropped down. They had the man advantage. Yeah, you can clutch it out, but you don't want to rely on that every round, as I've said before. So I'm curious to see what adjustments we'll see. We do see a Malusi and a Lesion being brought, which I don't know if they've been brought before, but I don't remember seeing them necessarily on this defense before. So I'm curious to see where those will be positioned. They could also be put below the hatch, so if you drop down, it'll catch you right away, so you have to take care of the Malusi. Also putting a Lesion right below that hatch. If they drop, they get hit. They can't plant right away. So I like the decision. Those could definitely come into play. The other thing is, we don't know what the last defender here is going to be. Looking at the lineup, that player still hasn't loaded in. I expect it to possibly be the Jaeger. We've seen the Jaeger-Wamai combo, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that coming out. On the other side of things, they're going to stick with the lineup they had before. It did work very well. The difference here, though, they did switch from a buck. Now they're going to be bringing the sledge. And I think that's actually a good move as well, because you have flashes on both the Nomad and the Hibana. So if you can utilize the grenades coming with the sledge, you could get a kill vertically with that. On top of it, you still get the verticality you need. Just like the buck opened up the floor, they got a kill. They can open up the floor with the sledge, probably get a kill. And then Capital also bringing that hard breach. This time, I'd actually still like I mentioned before, I think if they had someone push from the dirt, it could have even complemented their push last time even more. I know they got the plant down, but that might have also been another key position that could have won them the round. Either way, though, just small adjustments is all they need, because that attack did look pretty solid last time. On the defense, though, it's hard. They can get the hatches open. Yeah, they're bringing the Lesion and the Vigil, and they have impacts. But as I mentioned, the Hibana has so much utility now with the buff to her that she can only use 4 of those pellets to get a hatch. So yeah, you impact trick a few times, but they can still get that hatch if they really want to.
Yeah, I completely agree. But one funny story that I actually like to bring up a couple of times when going on Clubhouse, you've heard it before, Wes, but our observer has not been so lucky to hear it. One team I ended up commentating for a couple of weeks back, they brought about 4 sets of impact grenades, which is 8 in total, and that was the only way they were able to stop the Hibana from getting the kitchen hatch. But matter of fact, because that hatch remained shut, it ended up being a win for the defensive team. But I always like to bring that up. You can, in theory, deny the hatch, but it takes a lot of dedication. Similar to trying to hold Blue Bunker on a site or on the map of Oregon in the site of Supply and Closet, takes a lot of dedication and basically the entire team to work together in order to secure that part of the map. And that's basically just the entire game of Siege working together in order to get the outcome of a win. But those 2 examples in particular are very, very team-based, dedicated, and require a lot of coordination. But also for operator picks, I would like to see maybe not the Jaeger. It would make sense to have him along with the Wamai. He's not that good by himself, but an Intel Gatherer, maybe a Maestro or a Valkyrie could definitely suit this team composition as well, trying to deny the main hatch in kitchen of getting opened up, and also maybe some allowing some possible C4 kills as well, as I think we only have Malusi with that Nitro Cell at hand. Having the Valkyrie as well would definitely make things much easier, especially against a Sledge who can't really use his soft destruction at a range. He has to just go immediately into the wall and just start Kool-Aid manning through it. So it would make it very easy to get Nitro Cell in that kind of situation.
Yeah, that's always the danger of playing up there in the kitchen area. Now, the thing is, Hibana could open the hatch first. She could be upside down repelled and just try and get the hatch that way. That way you don't risk it. And maybe they waste some C4 thinking someone's in there. You mentioned, though, if it's a Valkyrie, they might even be able to put a sneaky cam up there so that they would know when someone's in there. So there's always those back and forth ideas. It would all depend on how it works out. The thing I would like to see is I'd like to see Jaeger be brought on this first person, but they still get that 6 pick. I like Vigil, but when it comes to team comp, he's just not the most useful. He literally is just, okay, I'm going to roam. I'm going to use my power to try and survive longer on the roam. And I think on this map, usually you can survive without that, even if they drone you. And if they are droning you, they're going to be trying to pinch you. So them having, they don't know my exact position. His power still gives relatively where your position is. So the chances of you surviving just a little bit longer aren't very high just because of a Vigil gadget. So I'd actually prefer to see them switch away from the Vigil, bring that Valkyrie. Then they also don't know the Valkyrie's there. They don't know those cams to be watching out for them necessarily. So I think that would be the play, in my opinion. That's my West strat. I'll just throw it out there.
Well, you've been pretty accurate throughout the entire BO3, and I agree with you completely that the Jaeger is a really good idea. Again, I just would like to see more intel gathering, and especially with the fact that there really aren't any at all, except for maybe Malusi and Legion. If you can kind of hear the sound cues that come off from them and not just directly view them from a camera like an Evil Eye or a Black Eye camera. But yeah, Vigil is literally just, I'm going to roam, maybe get some kills or waste a lot of time. And if that doesn't happen, then that's basically the round over. And that's kind of why Vigil is A, very strong put in the right hands, but B, a waste of a operator. And I think we've seen Vigil anchor on this map more times than we've seen him actually roam. So maybe bringing that Jaeger or the Maestro or even the Valkyrie that you and I both have mentioned would definitely suit the play style of Dominguez Hill a little bit more. But regardless, if the roam is successful and he can waste a lot of time on Vigil, then it will still be a win most likely, or just regardless. And another thing, since the fact that Vigil has those impact grenades, he could do a top floor roam clear or a top floor roam against the roam clear, do some vertical play for the hatch, and that could also benefit them as well. But it's really all up to him. But finally, after our elongated stalling for about, it feels like forever, to be honest, man, we are finally coming back into the 11th round. The suspense must be so high for everyone. I know it is right now for me as well. Also the adrenaline, because I'm literally running on fumes, but that's completely fine. Not the first time.
Hey, there's something positive happening, though. The 6 pick from the Vigil to that Valkyrie we had just talked about. So there is a win in the books for us.
It's still 5v4, though?
It is still 5v4, though.
What?
If the 6 pick did come out, if the person isn't back in time, unfortunately, we have to move forward. So that is just unfortunate for CSU. But they can still do this. These Valk cams could help them get that early pick. If they go in, they're not going to expect the Valk cams. This is a 6 pick. We talked about this. The cam up above, they walk in. Oh, he's in. Bam. C4. That's an easy kill. And then it's even man count. And it could help in multiple ways. You get the Hibana. That really slows down their hard bridging. It makes them have to readjust on how they want to push. You kill the sledge, then they have to focus other things on getting that soft destruction. The Zofia would probably have to go above and try and replace and do the best they could, but they still have a limited number of charges. So either one of those players getting taken out with the C4 could be big, and especially if it was the sledge, that's Meow, the top fragger for their team. If the C4 took them out early, that could be a huge advantage for CSU then. Even if it would be even man count, the difference would be Squall is still alive on the other side. So those are the two top fraggers for their teams, Meow and then Squall. So that's what I would be watching out for, see who can survive longer between the two of those, because they will be having the biggest impact on this round.
Completely agreed there. And also, if I think did you mention if the Habana dies too, or were you more specifying on Meow? Okay, good. I figured you did, but I couldn't quite hear it. I think I was lagging a little bit, but yeah, if Habana dies, that's basically all the hard destruction down the drain. We do have a small hard destruction device on Strict Viral, and I believe he used that to get open the dirt hallway. So if Hatch gets opened up by Habana, which it most likely will, she can get it from the comfort or safety of the outside area on the window rappel. That can allow some really advantageous sight lines for Johnson and Wales. But like you mentioned, if we do have CSU start doing the anti
Oh, no.
play,
It
oh
just
my god,
missed
Meow,
him.
he's him.
How did he not
No
see
way.
him?
That's gonna force CSU to still be in a 5v4. What?
Oh
I
my
was going on
goodness.
a whole tangent and just, oh my god, that was, I can't.
It's literally
I
right
can't.
below him.
I'm
And the site
giving
he
you the
just
talking
up.
stick, Wes.
How do you miss that? Okay, well, whatever. Sledge is a buff still, so they could still get the C4. He's going to jump on the table. Smart move, being very cautious of these C4s, but none of the C4s have been used from what I saw. No, actually, I say that, and I look, Squall did use theirs, and Playboy. Where were these used? I didn't hear or see any explosions going off. It was all Sledge work, so I'm very confused on where these C4s were used. Either way, the hatches also opened up. Hibana got that off, so missed opportunities from these defenders. They're in a 5v4. No C4s are on the board any longer. They have 3 impacts, I guess, that could potentially be used, but those are not nearly as deadly as those C4s that we were talking about. So all these players also playing in the back of Armory near blue, and also one person in church potentially. So they're all backed up. This Malusi Wub is going to give some information away, but are they going to be able to act on it? There is the Legion unwisely wide peeking. He gets an easy kill onto him. That's Meow, and then Coinflips gets Playboy. This is falling apart. It's already a man disadvantage, but now it's even further. And now we see Squall trying to do his best, but he's on his own now.
No.
Meow gets another kill. It's all on the Squall. Can he get an ace here? That's a lot to ask for a man when Plant is down now. 1v5 post-Plant situation. Squall in one of the worst situations you can possibly find yourself in. What are they going to do? No C4 in hand. It's all on the gun skills. He does get one. That's Gent taking off the board, but 4 more to be found and a defuse in only 30 seconds to do all of that. I don't know if this is going to be possible.
I don't think it will be either. He has to find 4 more kills, and I don't think he has enough time. Luckily, though, he'll add more to his KDR. Now going 18, picking up the frag onto Meow. Now overlapping his kills by 1, almost finding a 3rd, but a dose move will pick him up eventually sooner rather than later. And that's going to now bring match point in the favor of Johnson and Wales in this 5-on-4 with the final player of CSU still nowhere to be found. I don't know if we're going to go into another pause timer to try and allow him to come back. I don't know if that will be allowed by the rules, but if not, this could be easy pickings for Johnson and Wales yet again, as they were just able to get right in through the main hatch, do vertical play, force the defenders to use their secondary utility, and then just use the man advantage towards their personal gain of getting into sight, getting the plant down, and just trapping the remaining few defenders of Squall.
Yeah, we're going to see Squall. It's going to be on that Ella, but it looks like he's going to 6-pick off, and I agree. Ella's just not that useful enough, and especially when you're down a man, you probably just want to have someone who has a good gun, and Vigil definitely does. I was going to say him or Jaeger would be the choice here, because you basically just got to frag out at this point. You have to get a couple early kills to help your team swing things in your favor if you want to go into overtime here. The other thing to consider is, even if they make it to overtime, will this player ever load back in? I don't know if he's ever coming back. And if he doesn't, the chances of them winning this matchup are just basically null. And he's not even in this round, the last round of regulation. So they're already in a hard place, and it's not looking like it's getting any better. They are going to be up here in Cash and CC. So maybe this is the hold that is going to work for them. I'm not certain, but last time they did lose up here, I think, as they did have the Capital come up and help them get the plant, and then JWU did win on that round.
Yeah, for this strategy, there are some pretty good tactics you can do, but already with the 5-on-4 being in effect, there's already a couple of holes being poked into not only the site, but into the strategy overall. They can hold underneath as long as they ever so please to, but there are definitely still some spots that the plant can go down, particularly in the cash room objective. So if Johnson and Wales just do their diligency of just droning out the site, they can get that plant down and just force CSU to become the attackers, and then Johnson and Wales will be on the defense. And oh no, already coin flip finding the opening frag onto Let's Smoke in bed. This is already not looking to be a very hopeful start for the Californian team, as it's basically a 3-on-5, and I don't even think any defenders are in sight other than Playboy, who I believe is near the top of red. I think this is going to be already a very grim looking round for the defending team, as Johnson and Wales still has that firm grip on the necks of CSU, and coin flip finding another one. It's just up to Playboy and Squall isn't even near sight. He's in the back central stairs near the landing part, and coin flip is out for blood. He's trying to hunt down that deep roamer, but he'll go for the much smarter play, returning to his teammates to instead possibly just take a full 5-man push into sight. We do have Qual, though, finding a hipfire kill onto Strict that could possibly allow him to get back into the point and maybe, just maybe, bring it to overtime in this 4 versus 5, allowing the 5th player onto CSU possibly coming back, but it's all just theory at this point. Another kill coming out by Ado. Squall picking up another. That's Carrier down. This could be a win by him, but he has to ace yet again if he wants to bring this into overtime, like I just said.
Yeah, there's a whole minute remaining, so these attackers can definitely push. The thing is, they have each at least one camera. Every attacker has at least one camera. You see the circles in their icon, so they each could be droning right now. They don't need to rush this. They don't need to give them the one-on-ones. They should be pushing together. Someone needs to be droning right now, and I don't see any drones coming in. They could really be caught out here. There's a man coming upstairs right now. Squall could easily get a kill. He's already dropped a 20 bomb on this map by himself. If he gets another one, but no! Coin flip shuts him down. A triple on that round for Coin. And that's going to end the map, end the match. 7-5 on the final map here. And whether it's due to that person missing or not, it doesn't matter. That's the rules. And they win. 7-5. Man, that was intense last moment. Squall doing everything he could. A 20 bomb on this map, but just not enough to get his team the W.
If not give the MVP to Meow, then by all means give it to Squall. Both of these players were just butting heads the entire best of 3, dropping double digits left and right. Even coin flip joined in on the action at the very end on map number 3, getting 11 frags by himself. That was a very spectacular ending round. If only it could end in a 5-on-5 rather than 5-on-4, but it happens. Sometimes Rainbow just does not want to favor the unlikely underdogs, and we're going to have Johnson and Wales actually take that best of 3, 2-1 fashion, bringing it back on the clubhouse. Wes?
I'm trying to think of just
here for quite a long time now. Yeah.
I was just trying to think of the final scoreline, so we can just recap a bit. It's 8-6, the comeback from CSU, and so they won 8-6 after winning a bunch of rounds in a row. I think they won 5 in a row on Coast to bring it back. They were down 6-3 at one point. They bring it back and win the 2 overtime rounds. So good for them. And then we see on the other side of things, Johnson and Wales. They were able to win that second map. That was a little bit more thorough of a victory. I think they won. What was it? 7-4. 7-3.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember, but it was definitely not nearly as close as the other 2 maps. And this map, 7-5, and unfortunately, just coming to a 5v4 at the dying rounds, that's just really not the way. Such a good matchup to have it end that way is kind of disappointing, to be honest. It probably should have gone to overtime potentially. I don't want to say that for sure, but at least the chance would have certainly have been better for them had they not been in a 4v5. But either way, that's just the way the rules work. You have to live with how things work out. You can't control everything. Yeah. Sometimes players disconnect. We've seen pro league teams having to forfeit because their internet was down. I think that happened to one of the Russian teams before. So I'm just pointing out it happens to everyone. It's unfortunate, but it is something we have to live with and move on with. So speaking of moving on, that's going to be it for us here. That was the final matchup of the night. It is very late. It's already 12:20 for me. I'm Central Time. A lot of you guys are East Time, so it's already 1:20 for you. I feel bad. I'm sorry for keeping you guys up so late, but hey, it was a hell of a matchup. We're going to move on, though, and next week, I believe every Monday, this will be happening. So tune in next time for the next Rainbow6 Siege matchups. This has been NECC Esports Rocket League tomorrow at 5 Eastern, I believe. And so that will be something else to watch out for. But for us, that's it. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for tuning in.